can save ya, cause this is the season of funky behavior. I came to relax your mind, you can recline. On what? On this here rhyme. I like the style, I'm staying for a while. It helps me show cats that I'm versatile. I'll touch your dial, turn your frown to a smile. I'll make you feel like you're having a child. So relax and open up, child. I'm about to make you walk what? Pimp style or pimped out style. You don't understand the logic. See, if you don't have it all, I'll take a deposit. I got shit for you, it's alright indeed. It's like going to the garden and planting the seed. It might tickle for a second, but it won't bleed. So just relax, just hear a dope track. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax and just hear a dope track. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Your entertainment, at the same time edutainment. In other words, you could call it bent. What I'm saying is that I'm here at your service. It's hard work, but then again, I deserve this. I'm helping people enjoy their spare time. I'm like an instructor when I'm doing my rhyme. Relax and just hear the dope track. It's really not all that, it's not like a gag. We like that when everything is relaxed and chill. You don't have to get fucked up or take pills, cause I like being myself, it feels good. Yo, it makes my meals taste good. 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 So just relax. And hear a dope track. The vibes is real nice, everything is real bad. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax and hear a dope track. The vibes is real nice, everything is real bad. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax. My mind state, now balloon, it won't inflate. Just take the buzz, this much wiser kid, fuck the shade. And take it to a lower level, and dig a ditch for the devil. Got some more kids and pass the shovel. Dig a hole, take them on a spiritual roll. Lyrics unfold, either that or unroll the scroll. Episodes keep reoccurring and stifling. People's vision get blurring, their hearts start murmuring. I'm about 5 times iller than a Sherman. The introspection is God's gift to the miracle. I freak material, lamb's milk without the cereal. When MCs say your booty, they mean venereal. Your fake material hip-hop killers, they more faking than fucking Michael Jackson and Thriller. The status of a hoe, Quanto Costa. They wanna know how much it costs, kid, I bet for keep tell me just relax and just hear a dope track. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax and just hear a dope track. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax.
It is 6:12, November 23rd, Central European Time, and that would make it, as Bit says, 10:12 in Arizona, Eastern Standard Time, USA. What's up, everybody? We back at it again. Oh, my goodness. You know, we are so lucky. We're so lucky because, you know, in the USA, as much as I think people have had the right to be distraught, to be irate, even enraged. You know, a lot of people are fucking enraged, you know what I mean? And fear, you know, also deeply concerned about the fate of their country. And I think, you know, it's interesting because you don't want Americans getting any more concerned than what they are. I mean, they may need to get more concerned, but I have to say, Americans are stepping up to this concern, like they are, you know, and I really, really do believe, although I'm sure no American is going to be taking any chances, right, just because of how foul this escapade has been, right, against them, you know, how foul this escapade has been, the audacity of some people to try to take over and sell off our goddamn country. Don't you know how many people have died? First of all, Native Americans are on the brink. Okay, that happened. So many other groups of people have fought in wars to preserve this country, to create the country. And then to find out that someone would, there was a king at one time that thought they owned every goddamn thing and everyone was their subject. Americans went through that war. Then they went through a civil war, right? To help further define the country. And you would think no one would have the audacity in a country where, first of all, people are used to freedom. People are used to their a certain level of rights and law being respected and understood. People have guns in the United States of America, and I gotta say that, damn, people have been very, very. How can I say this? They have shown an expert control over that. Like, Americans did not lean to their guns. They leaned to the law. They leaned to their lawyers. They leaned to their right to demonstrate First Amendment rights. They leaned to their organizational skill. You know what I'm saying? They leaned into things that only an organized, capable group of people even have at their disposal. I'm saying American people are privileged. We better start recognizing how we're privileged, because everybody does not have the ability to fight back this type of monster, this type of deceit. I mean, can you imagine it? Who has the richest man in the world be brought in just to walk through their goddamn Treasury Department? Like, first of all, will that building ever be secure again? Who has the audacity to want to rip down a whole wing of the White House from one day to the next, not even consult the Historical Society, not even worry about asbestos, not worry about the workers, just from one day to the next on a whim? Right? Who has the audacity to do that? Do you think that White House, that White House will ever be safe again for anybody to be in, for any leader of the United States to actually be and have a conversation in? I mean, but this administration and their excuse me, and their I'm sorry, the weather's changing over here, and their cabinet members and the administration and the cabinet members, just all of them together, they have had the audacity to do things that you either have to be out of your goddamn mind or have simply no respect for the American people. And they're going to learn, because apparently they're in courts. I mean, American people are starting to wake up. See, we've been used to our freedom. We've been used to our freedoms for a long time. Maybe we taking advantage of them a little bit. Enough of us don't come out and vote. One third of the population of the United States, that's 80 million people, did not vote in the last presidential election. I bet you won't do that again. I bet you won't do that again. And if you are, then, you might want to consider moving to another country, because, you ain't going to have a country if you don't get your word out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and exercise your civic duty, you know what I mean? On at least voting, straight up, because as you can see, someone could slip in there and just want to take the entire thing. Not see, and this is the thing. I'm not talking about culture wars, because someone that wants to buy the United States of America, like Elon Musk, or own it, doesn't give a fuck about no culture war. He's not even invested. Elon Musk is not even he's a naturalized American citizen. He was given a passport because he's a businessman, essentially. Is he a person of the people? Hell fucking no. The dude came from South Africa. No offense to South Africans, but this dude came running with money from apartheid, allegedly. to the United States of America. And I'm not saying that that means a whole lot, but you could see it definitely means he does not give a goddamn about human life, period. This man has shown, he's shown his colors. He gives a fuck about money and control and power. A person like that should never be anywhere close to government. A person that just cares about money, control, and power. And right now, that's what this administration shows you. They care about money, control, and power. American people, oh, hell no. So I want to congratulate the American people that have been out there fighting, out there, number one, expressing their First Amendment right every single goddamn day in front of ICE, in front of this administration, in front of Trump, marching. Because your life is on the line. You may as well speak now, because they don't even want you to have that First Amendment right. They don't want you to have, they don't give a damn about that. They don't want you to have First Amendment right, Fourth Amendment right, no rights. This is the regime that doesn't care about your rights. They cannot care about American people, period, if they do not care about your rights. So congratulations to you, those people that have done that. The people, that have been out there fighting in the courts, on the streets, the courts, organizing also on the streets, because people want to go to demonstrations, but it does take folks to organize too. The organizers, man, you guys are saving the United States of America. Like, straight up, you're saving the United States of America. And this has been very painful for a lot of people to watch and experience. This has been very, very painful. What you say, Pitts? Not voting is a vote. Yeah, not vote. Oh, you didn't vote? Well, then you voted for Trump. You voted for Elon Musk, Trump, Peter Thiel, and Project 2025. And you voted for fuck Marjorie Taylor and anything she's talking about right now. That's what you voted for too. You voted for fuck Schumer, fuck Taylor, fuck Hakeem, fuck liberals, fuck MAGA. You voted for fuck Americans. Just call it what it is. You voted to say fuck America. That was your vote. And I'm going to tell you, I've been telling people for a long time, I could understand if you hated the United States of America and you voted for Trump. I could understand a person that hates the U.S., didn't vote for Kamala, and voted for Trump, because, of course, Trump was going to bring pain to the United States of America. And he was going to weaken the United States of America. Who knows what the outcome of that will be? Things could flip completely on its head. That's not cool either, because a lot more pain might come to others. You see what I mean? But, China voted for Trump. The Chinese government I'm talking about. Russian government voted for Trump. Come on, y'all. Let's give a hand where a hand is due. You see what I mean? Not saying China hates the United States, but we damn sure know Putin does, right? Iran, cyber attack, cyber trolling. China, Russia, Iran, cyber patrolling, pushing up the algorithm for Trump, pushing it up because they would rather have an incompetent fool in office, one that says he's going to repress the people. One that says he's going to take away your Fourth Amendment right. One that says he's going to take, he didn't say, he said it in other words, but now you find out what he's doing. One that releases a whole Project 2025 and says, I don't know nothing about that, and then proceeds to execute each aspect of it with the quickness. You see? So this shit has been wild. This has been a wild ride. And, then again, you're dealing with the American people. You're not dealing with a group of people that's used to being repressed. God damn it. You see what I mean? So, congratulations to the American people for sticking in there. You know what I'm saying? For sticking in there, because you are about to get a taste of what it's like to get your country back and to get it back better than what it was before, not worse. Look, those of you that have criticisms for Schumer, Jeffries, or the establishment, see them as the establishment. Fair enough. Fair enough. Don't you ever think that nobody else sees those things. But the difference is that how you deal with them is a big difference. And see, if you're one of those people that was like, fuck this, let's vote for Trump. Oh, wow. Well, you really like a suicide ride and you got your ride for a minute. Right. But in either case, Americans are in a situation now, if they want to come back stronger. That is a society, right, that actually is for them, a nation that actually functions for American citizens for the first time, maybe ever. You see what I'm saying? Not just for the corporate elite. You know, Americans got a real taste of what these people think of us, of what the corporate elite think of us and how they move. All of a sudden, you know, they're going after Biden because Biden is old, can't give Biden a shot. Biden grew up in motherfucking Delaware. Biden wasn't a fucking bigot. He's a white dude from the East Coast who grew up in Delaware, you know, in proximity with other black people and wasn't a bigot. Spent a career actually working with black Americans. Wasn't a bigot in other people. You know what I mean? And what did corporate America have to do? Oh, he's just too fucking old. Oh, Biden, you know, they just clamped down on Biden like anything. But if Biden said hello, they would be like, see how he said hello? But look at what you got now. You got a fool that they didn't criticize at all, made every blunder in the book, every step of the fucking way to get into the White House. And they basically let it slide because they got that tax break. So they exposed themselves, you know, and they got that tax break at the risk of losing the entire fucking country. So you proved you are no patriots. You know, legacy media, nothing about nationalism, nothing about the people of the United States of America, nothing about them. People that supported Trump, nothing about the United States of America, nothing there about being patriots, nothing there about Americans first. What are you talking about? If you're American first, then you want Americans to get a fair wage, Americans to actually have access to health care. All Americans to actually have access to education so they can pull themselves up by their own bootstrap with their tax dollars they pay every day. If it was America first, then why the hell isn't the taxes used for Americans first? You know, but it's not. It's been used for the corporate elite. Our tax dollars go to subsidize Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, all these privatized projects, people that are not patriots that want to steal us. Want to treat us like we're slaves. And the only thing I could celebrate out of that is that I think everybody, every ethnic group in the United States right now is getting a taste of what slavery might have been like. Having your rights violated. Yeah, exactly. Your Treasury Department raided. You know what I'm saying? Your nest egg raided. Just out of the blue. It's starting to feel like sharecropping. You know, you worked hard. You don't know what you have left for it. But this time it might be everybody. You see what I'm saying? So people need to think about that. And if you don't believe me, then keep going down the path you're going down. Because I can assure you, as an American living outside of the United States, in the EU, people are not fucking experiencing life like that. And they haven't been for a very long time, for decades and decades since the end of the World War II. You see what I'm saying? The Marshall Plan, even the U.S. helped out with the Marshall Plan, but they didn't rebuild. They didn't rebuild Europe in the model of the USA. They put their culture and their people first to preserve their culture and their people. Don't Americans want to preserve their culture and their people? It looks like Americans are having an identity crisis. They forget that they went through a civil war. They forget that they had slavery. They forget that women didn't have rights to vote or own property. They forget that the genocide happened against Native Americans. They forget that a lot of those Native Americans are their descendants today are these Mexicans that are coming in and Central Americans that are being treated like shit just because they crossed the border for humanitarian purposes. You know, this motherfucking country has had some issues with fucking amnesia. And when you have issues with amnesia, you get Trump and you get Elon Musk and you get Peter Thiel and you get JD Vance. You get Pam Bondi, you get Kash Patel's. I mean, things are looking so weird right now. I can't even come down on Kash Patel anymore because he ain't even the head of the DOJ. I mean, he's actually telling you on camera with his facial expressions like, damn, Pam Bondi's lying her ass off. So kudos. Thank you for those little body language clips. Now, in any case, American citizens, no matter if you're Republican, no matter if you're Democrat, no matter if you're whoever the hell you are, liberal, conservative, no matter whoever you are, if you're doing something and you believe that all Americans need to be first when it comes to their taxes, that their tax dollars should work for the American citizen families, kudos to you. If you don't believe that, I don't know what the fuck planet you think you're living on, because every other goddamn Western nation functions that way. That's why people are more happy. Okay, you could call it whatever you want to call it, but at the end of the day, call it happier. Call it not wanting to be fucking American right now. Okay, so you got something very wrong going on. Whatever's going on right now, no one who is responsible for it going on knows a damn thing about anything ever going good. I put it to you that way. So yeah. But on that note, I appreciate everybody for showing up. I'm a little early tonight, but that's good. I like this time frame. But I can't normally do it during my normal week. That's the thing. But since it's the weekend, I'm able to actually get to it. But first of all, it's been massive protests around the U.S. So let's take a look at that. This was crazy. We saw some of this, right? We saw some of this yesterday. Listen, congrats to the people that came out. Congrats to y'all. This has been exactly what folks needed. I mean, it's really hard because folks' hearts get hurt when you have to watch, when you have to experience oppression. Let's call it what it is. When you have to experience oppression, that shit ain't easy. And it's not that American life has been easy. It's not that Americans don't know how to struggle. It's not that Americans don't know how to pick themselves up by their own feet. But we pay taxes too. So why can't the people who we pay taxes to pick their motherfucking selves up by their own fucking bootstraps and do something for a fucking change? You know, and I really think this is the point where Americans are starting to get that. Like, it's our tax dollars. It's our country. You work for us. What the fuck are you doing? I really think Americans are getting to that point, you know, because they did hit the streets. They did protest. I heard a couple of really fantastic speeches myself. I was watching from overseas. And I really, really liked what I saw. And I liked the language people were using. I saw one of the Jan 6 police officers speaking. Wow. I think that was at the feet of was it the Lincoln Memorial? Was it the Lincoln Memorial, y'all? Let me know if I got that right. But he gave a great speech, and I really like the speech that he gave because it kind of parrots what I've been saying for a minute, and that is it's our tax dollars. They work for us. Like, American people you have to let politicians know that they are working for you, that you are paying their bills, and they must act accordingly, and they must work to better your American life. That's what they're there for. They're not there for any other purpose. They're not even there to better their motherfucking lives as individuals. Okay? That's not what they're there for at all. And American people, once we get that straight, it won't matter who you are or what color you are or what gender you are or any of these things. That will be the beginning of the change. It won't matter your sexual orientation because you're paying motherfucking taxes. I mean, hello, you're paying the bills. Hello, that's what you're supposed to get back. What you paying in some bills? Why the hell would you pay taxes for shit that is not there to assist you be free? That's exactly what taxes are for, to assist you in being free, to assist yourself in freedom and being a free person in a society, in a democratic society. That's what it's supposed to do. As long as you're not breaking the law, that's what it's supposed to do. You see, so so big up to folks that went out there. This was amazing. I was really just pleased, really more than ever, because of course I couldn't be there. But as you can see, this is loads of people. And they were just marching. And I guess what they did was march from the Lincoln Memorial to the Capitol, it appears, right? It appears to be so, yeah, because I know DC very well. I'm born and raised in DC, so I know the whole layout of the city like the back of my hand, okay, Union Station. So folks, yeah, I don't know how close people could get to the Capitol because, in the last decade or so, there's been a lot of security around the Capitol building and things like that. But yeah, it was loads of people. And let me tell you, as a person who's living outside, an American living outside, I can tell you every single American is with you. Every single American is watching this from abroad. I had people contacting me yesterday asking me, do I know people here that are involved, or, how can they support? How can they get contact? And that's how interested, that's how concerned Americans outside of the U.S. right now are. You know what I mean? And so kudos again to the people that's gone out there in the street. And you need to understand, in Europe, we organize also, right? We're organized in Europe. There wasn't a demonstration yesterday, I don't believe, but there's been demonstrations, that have been going along the No Kings demonstrations. And even before that, right out of the gate, we had some demonstrations in Denmark, but these were demonstrations about a lot of things, like how the U.S. was treating Greenland, how the U.S. is treating Denmark. And this is done by American citizens, right? How the regime is treating American citizens, this kind of thing. So it's been, but this has been going on across Europe. Like, Americans been organized across Europe, standing up in individual countries. And thank God we've had the freedom to do that in these countries, we're able to exercise our freedom of speech. We had demonstration in front of the American embassy a few different times already. So just people that are out there in the U.S. understand that folks are with you. Everybody is paying attention to this moment. Like, you are the heroes of the United States of America. Like, you are the freedom fighters. You are the heroes. You are the ones that are protecting the country right now. You are the ones. Without you, everything else will fall apart. Every single thing else will fall apart if people were not on these streets. Everything will fall apart. If people were not in these courts, they would have rolled over the people already. And that's exactly what they intended to do. And legacy media, don't pretend that you don't have a hand in it. You have a hand in this. You have a serious hand in this, because you were not honest. You were not factual. And you didn't mind corporate tax breaks over the truth. You see? And that's fucked up. That's fucked up. That's really fucked up. You see? So American people are going to have to deal with that too, how they deal with it. Maybe a lot of these companies don't deserve to even have their license if they're going to act that way, if they're going to lie, openly promote bias, You see what I mean? Unfactual, information that's not factual. You know what I'm saying? Lies and manipulation over truth. I mean, that's so scandalous. That's so goddamn scandalous, but kudos to American people. Kudos to American people for having some brains and also having some guts, having some courage, having some fight back, because American people, a lot of people don't understand that American people struggle, for a first world nation, for the most powerful nation on the earth. American people the average citizen has not been put first by its government. So the average American citizen is one that knows struggle. We're like the superpower of the third world. You know what I mean? Like, really, when it comes down to it, we know how to scratch and scrape. You know what I'm saying? If necessary. We had to put up with a lot. You know what I'm saying? But these days can be the end of all of that shit. And my advice is put the pedal to the metal. Put your foot down on this shit. Stomp it out. Stomp it all the way out, because people need to be taught a lesson. Corruption needs to be fucking taught a lesson in the United States of America. Corruption needs to be taught that it can get stomped the fuck out in the United States of America by the American people. And, the country can go either way. It can go the way of the American people if they want to stomp out corruption and make these taxes work for American people. Or it can go the Elon Musk way, where they're using your baby blood to build motherfucking machines that are going to take your job and control your fucking mind and the algorithm, and just have you sitting there thinking you're free in a fucking test tube while the machine is sucking your blood and using your blood for energy. I mean, it could go that way, So, yeah, I don't want to spook anybody out. It sounds spooky, but that goddamn this is what it is. The Matrix was real. The Matrix is real. It's a real story now. And it can happen to you. You can get caught in the Matrix if you don't fight that fight, So, yeah, but in any case, Mamdani, back to Mamdani's test. Oh, you know what? Before Mamdani, actually, there's been a couple of stories that also broke. Number one is, let me see. I think it was Comey. Comey just recently had some kind of situation there with the courts where I think he's about to get out, right? I think Comey is about to get out of this case. Let me see here. Where the heck is it? Is it over here? Boom. Okay, first of all, there's a story about Ghislaine Maxwell. There's a story about Comey. Right, there's whistleblower. Right, Ghislaine Maxwell apparently has been. Let's start with Comey. Let me pull over here for a second. And yeah, let me pull this up. 2 seconds. Here we go. Can y'all see this? Yeah. Boom. Before we get into some exciting stuff, this story, it's an important story. So I wanted to grab this one. What is this about? Hold on. Did this just move? Let me see something. Oh, right. It's not that one. Sorry. It's this one. Let me start with this one. It's the actual Attorney General from Arizona. It's the Jan 6 case. Here it is. I'm losing my mind. Here we go, folks. Let's go. Can y'all hear this?
Let me start by thanking everyone for your patience as we conducted a thorough and professional investigation over the past 13 months into the fake elector scheme in our state. I understand for some of you today didn't come fast enough, and I know I'll be criticized by others for conducting this investigation at all. But as I have stated before and will say here again today, I will not allow American democracy to be undermined. It's too important. The investigators and attorneys assigned to this case took the necessary time to thoroughly piece together the details of the events that began nearly 4 years ago. They followed the facts where they led, and I'm very proud of the work they've done to date. We're here because justice demands an answer to the efforts that the defendants and other unindicted co-conspirators allegedly took to undermine the will of Arizona's voters during the 2020 presidential election. Arizona's election was free and...
So this is not a federal. This is a state issue. And that means there can be no pardon from it.
And fair. The people of Arizona elected President Biden. Unwilling to accept this fact, the defendants charged by the state grand jury allegedly schemed to prevent the lawful transfer of the presidency. Whatever their reasoning was, the plot to violate the law must be answered for, and I was elected to uphold the law of this state.
Yo, somebody in the chat said it's a republic, not a democracy. Idiot, it's both, you stupid ass. What the hell is wrong with you, man?
Scheme, had it succeeded, would have deprived Arizona's voters of their right to have their votes counted for.
That's like saying it's a state. You know, it's like it's a land, not a state. Like, what the fuck? It's a land, not a country.
Their chosen president. It effectively would have made their right to vote meaningless. After the general election on November 3rd, 2020, the defendants and other unindicted co-conspirators raised false claims of widespread voter fraud in Arizona to pressure elections officials to change.
Well, this was a criminal act. You could call it whatever else you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? This criminal act happened in this republic, okay? And the criminal act was trying to overturn the election in a democratic state, okay, in a democratic country.
The outcome of a transparent, free, and fair democratic election. Those efforts ultimately.
How about stop trying to not call it a democracy when it is, fool? Democracy means you vote. Republic doesn't, idiot, okay? You don't vote? You don't vote, John? Is that what you're trying to tell people? You don't vote? You don't acknowledge a democracy? Come on, John. John must be a robot or something. John, what's up? Somebody named John in the chat talking about, why don't you call it what it is? It's a republic. That means John doesn't vote. Ooh, John doesn't vote. You're not registered to the Republican Party, John? You're not registered to any party? You're not an independent, John? You're not a Democrat? You're not a Republican? You're not a MAGA head, huh? Because MAGA people vote, John. Who the hell are you? Some foreign agent? What town you from? John? You even American? Okay, so this is what's happening in your republic, John. Okay, some people are about to go to jail, okay? Here they are. They're about to go to jail, John, in your republic, okay, for trying to overturn an election in a democratic state and a democratic country, John. Okay, here you go.
I know I'll be criticized by others for conducting this
She knew you would criticize her, John.
Investigation at all. But as I have stated before and will say here again today, I will not allow American democracy to be undermined. It's too important. The investigators and attorneys assigned to this case took the necessary time to thoroughly piece together the details of the events that began nearly 4 years ago. They followed the facts where they led, and I'm very proud of the work they've done to date. We're here because justice demands an answer to the efforts that the defendants and other unindicted co-conspirators allegedly took to undermine the will of Arizona's voters during the 2020 presidential election. Arizona's election was free.
Did you hear there was an election, John? Did you hear that? You didn't know what that election happened?
Co-conspirators allegedly took to undermine the will of Arizona's voters during the 2020 presidential election.
There was something called the 2020 presidential election in a democratic country called the United States of America. Did you hear about that, John? Or you just been under a rock somewhere?
Arizona's election was free and fair. The people of Arizona elected.
John's been under a rock. Okay, you're welcome, John. Join the rest of us now. Now you can get up to date over here.
President.
Please, there's a Cash App over there, John, to the right, a cash signal. Please hit it, and I will continue to educate you, brother. Thank you.
Biden. Unwilling to accept this fact, the defendant.
Join the party, John. Subscribe.
Charged.
Click the like button, please.
By the state grand jury, allegedly schemed to prevent the lawful transfer of the presidency. Whatever their reasoning was, the plot to violate the law must be answered for, and I was elected to uphold the.
The plot to violate the law. Okay, this is the person prosecuting it. I hope you go tell her it's not a democracy, it's a republic. Stop calling it a democracy. Call it a republic.
Law of this state. The scheme.
John, please capture and buy some of this merch that's in the chat. Do y'all see that? Oh, did it? Who the heck? Somebody just... What's going on here? There we go. Yeah, the merch is coming up. John, please support. Thank you.
Had it succeeded, would have deprived Arizona's voters of their right to have their votes counted for their chosen president. It effectively would have made their right to vote meaningless. After the general election on November 3rd, 2020,
Trump, John wants you to read the Constitution. He says it's not a democracy. Stop running for office. J.D. Vance, stop running for president, J.D. Vance. Okay, John wants you to stop running for president. Stop calling it a democracy. It's not, according to John. It's a republic. Everybody that's out there been voting, John doesn't want you to vote. John doesn't want you to vote because John doesn't vote either.
Defendants and other unindicted co-conspirators raised false claims of widespread voter fraud in Arizona to pressure elections officials to change the outcome of a transparent, free, and fair democratic election.
John,
those efforts ultimately failed when...
You know, Iran is a republic also, motherfucker. I mean, goddamn.
Officials stood firm, followed their statutory duties, and officially certified Arizona's election on November 30th, 2020. The defendant Republican presidential electors...
People going to jail over this. This is state charges, yo. That means Julia. Do you know what she's talking about? Hold on, man. This is going to be hilarious. This is hilarious. She ain't just talking about nobody. Yo, this is crazy. Who's going to jail? This is like, oh, damn, Rudy Giuliani, if he's alive. Everybody involved with it. It's crazy. They in trouble, yo. They in trouble.
Allegedly plotting.
And the Fed cannot stop state charges.
With additional defendants, then voted for Mr. Trump and Vice President Pence on December 14th, 2020, falsely claiming to be the duly elected and qualified electors for President and Vice President of the United States from the state of Arizona. These defendants deceived the citizens of Arizona by falsely claiming that those votes were contingent only on a legal challenge that would change the outcome of the election. In reality, the defendants intended that the false votes for Trump and Pence would encourage Vice President Pence to reject the certified Biden-Harris electors' votes, regardless of the result of any legal challenge. As you will recall, none of the legal challenges filed in Arizona state and federal courts regarding the 2020 election were remotely successful at any stage of the case. When combined with the 6 other states where Republican electors sent in uncertified votes for Trump-Pence, the defendants wanted Pence to declare Mr. Trump the outright winner of the election, or to send the vote back to friendly legislatures that would have certified Trump-Pence as the winner of the election. That scheme failed when Vice President Pence upheld the rule of law and accepted all certified Biden-Harris votes on January 6, 2021. A state grand jury made up of everyday, regular Arizonans has now handed down felony indictments for all 11 Republican electors, as well as several others connected to this scheme. These charges include...
Yo, that's right. It's 11 of them, right? Listen to this. Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays charged 11 false electors. That's 11 people in connection with January 6, 2021 events. The charges include fraud, forgery, and conspiracy. Yes, you can go to arizonastate.gov and look that up if you want. That's my source I'm citing. Some of the named defendants are well-known Trump allies. Guess who? Mark Meadows, Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, among others. You can go to arizonastate.gov, azag.gov. That's the source. The indictment comes from the state grand jury, not a federal case. Goddamn, that means Trump can't pardon them. According to the recent reporting, do you know the prison in Arizona ain't a nice place? By the way, do you know that? Like, I wouldn't want to be an old motherfucker in that prison, but I wouldn't want to be anyone in that prison. Not dissing it, not saying it's anything worse than any other prison across, but I hear it's not the nicest situation to be in. I mean, I myself, I wouldn't want to be in prison for one day. I wouldn't want to be. And because I have a feeling I'd turn into an animal. You know what I'm saying? But I myself, nah, man, I wouldn't want to be there. That's fucked up, man. That's fucked up. That means you ain't doing something right. Something's going wrong in your life. You spending it in this place, but these cats are going there. They're gonna go there. According to the recent reporting, Arizona AG is now asking the state Supreme Court to revive the case after a judge dismissed the indictment earlier due to a procedural error. Yeah, you can't get off with no. I mean, that's a whole lot to get off for a procedural error. I mean, yeah, you could do that, but can't you bring it back correctly? You know what I'm saying? Like, So damn. So there you have it. Somebody's in trouble.
Fraud, forgery, and conspiracy. These charges are class 2, 4, and 5 felonies. These are serious indictments, but this is the first hurdle the state must pass in our constitutional criminal justice system. We intend to prove these crimes were committed beyond a reasonable doubt. However, it must be remembered that the defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law and convicted by a jury of their peers. Though it is important to tell Arizonans about the grand jury indictments against these defendants, our office will continue its investigation into the efforts to illegally subvert the results of the 2020 presidential election. Please understand that any additional information provided by my office on this investigation will be limited and brief and based on the information currently outlined in the indictments as we move forward in prosecuting this case. We look forward to presenting our evidence in court and hope for.
Okay, so you heard that. Let me see. Who are all the 11? Who are all the 11? That's what I want to know. Yeah, because we don't want to miss any names. There could be somebody up in there that is actually well known. Okay, here go the names. Kelly Ward, right? Michael Ward. Damn, it's 2. They must be married, maybe. Tyler Bauer. Anybody know who that is? Let me see. Yep. Okay. Jake Hoffman, Anthony Kern, James Lamont, Robert Montgomery, Samuel Moorhead, Lorraine Pellegrino, Gregory Safston, and Nancy Coulter. Okay. Yes, those are the 11 that are indicted. Yep. Those are the 11 that are indicted. But hold on for a second. No, there's more. There's 11 others. Okay. So let's see here. Including, let me see here. Those are the additional 11. Let's see here. Hold on. Because apparently there's some more. All right. So that's what it is. There's 11 fake electors plus 7 allies of Trump that are indicted, y'all. Damn. That's crazy. And those other 7 are Mark Meadows, Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, Boris, who is this? Boris, I can't see that name here. Boris Epstein. That's an interesting name, CBS. Okay, they got a story on him in April earlier. Christina Bobb, Jana Ellis, Michael Roman. So there are others. There's 7 others. So that's 18 people in all being indicted in this case, and that is, hey, send their ass to jail, just like everybody else that gets in. I mean, if you're guilty, you're guilty, and they did try to overturn the election. And by the way, that's illegal. You can't conspire to fucking overturn the election. I mean, they literally was like, have conversations like, don't bring the bag. Who should bring the bag? How should you deal with the bag? And what happens if this happens? I mean, it's a full-blown damn conspiracy. Like, what is up with this? And then people were talking about it on the email, their phone texting and shit. It's like, what the fuck? Listen, don't let the metasphere, the meta world, get your ass out there committing a crime like this, like straight up. Don't have people out there talking about it's a republic, not a democracy, or you don't need an election. Stop it. It's illegal. It's not a democracy, so it's not illegal. Yeah, See what happened to them? Okay, John, that could have been you, right? That could have been you talking about it's not a democracy, it's a republic. See, this shouldn't happen. You can stop the election. That's not illegal. There was loads of people out there saying that, by the way. I don't know if y'all remember how far back you remember, but I remember before this election, that was a big talking point in the metasphere. It's not it's not a democracy. It's a republic. Or all you have to do to stop the election is go in there and do this. Take those votes. Stop this person from doing that. Yo, these people literally were advocating for a criminal act. For a fucking criminal act. Where? On the internet. Where? Through disinformation sites spread to the American people. Why? To stop them from voting or stop them from going along with an actual democratic election. To stop a person running for office. To meddle in elections. That's how devious this shit is. And that's how far it spread. Yeah. So you need to check your information sources. When you go out there, make sure you're not just saying some Russian talking points, some Russian government talking points, some disinformation talking points designed to interfere in the U.S. elections. Make sure you don't do that again. Because it could affect your fucking life. It could affect your pockets and your rights. Yeah, it could. And you know who I'm talking about, because there's a lot of y'all out there that did that, and don't be, of course, if you were confused by disinformation, that makes you a victim. But don't be confused. You can adjust. You can correct yourself. You can acknowledge what you did incorrectly, because no fucking body is perfect. And when you make such a mistake with grave consequences as that one, oh, you need to look in the mirror. You need to look in the mirror real hard before you even think about anything else. Look hard in the fucking mirror, But in any case, that's not the only story, yo, because there's other stories out there. Comey. Wow. Comey. No, Ghislaine Maxwell. Let's do that. Let's do Ghislaine Maxwell. Her emails. Let me pull this down for a second. Let me see here. Click the like button, y'all, if y'all don't mind. Let's see here. She got emails out. Ghislaine Maxwell's emails from minimum security jail leaked amid VIP treatment. Claims of VIP treatment. Listen, y'all. She's saying thank you. Oh, wow. Things are going so well. The convicted sex trafficker wrote, wow. The convicted sex trafficker wrote to a relative, I have not seen a single fight, drug deal, passed out person, or naked inmate running around, or several of them congregating in a shower. In other words, I feel like I have dropped through Alice in the Wonderland's looking glass. Thanks, courtesy to the Trump administration. They got her some justice, apparently, right? Ghislaine Maxwell has said she is much happier since being moved to a minimum security prison in Texas, leaked emails revealed. Wow. She's got treated better than most inmates, better than any of y'all in the chat would ever get treated. Are you liking that, or are you not liking that? I don't know. I wouldn't like that. I'd say, why not me? Why not me? God damn it. People need to have a protest in them jails, like, what the fuck? Why not me? Go. Yeah. Sue. So if you're in the same jail, sue the federal government. Unfair treatment. If she can get it, why can't you get it? You see? Especially people that committed less crimes. Like, what the hell? Ghislaine Maxwell said she is much happier since being moved to a minimum security prison in Texas, leaked emails revealed. Yeah, that's wild. Okay, Maxwell, a disgraced British socialite, in case you didn't know, An ex-girlfriend of the convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein is serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking. Did you know that? Actual sex trafficking. Some people who read too much disinformation say, what she do? She ain't do nothing. That ain't a crime. She was just hanging out with little girls. That's all. They was just hanging out with pretty girls. That's not a crime. She was moved days after being interviewed by the Justice Department in July. Yeah, the place you pay taxes to. Your taxes went to work for a convicted sex trafficker and partner of the most prolific sex trafficker in the United States history, Jeffrey Epstein, and pedophile one at that. Good. Do you like how your tax dollars is being used? Okay. She was moved courtesy of Trump. You Trump voters, courtesy of your administration, the one you voted for when you were told that devastating effects could come from that choice. You did it anyway. So here is your money at work. Congratulations. She was moved days after being interviewed by the Justice Department, even though prisoners convicted of sex offenses aren't meant to be held in they're not meant to be brought there, yo. That's crazy. This is your tax dollars. I wish my tax dollars worked for me that way. Can they work for me? I mean, I'm talking about me, like, as in, like, get me to the prison. If I got to go to prison, I want to go to the one where they have fucking picnics. Okay. I want to go to the one where the food is better. Okay. Where no naked inmates are running around. I want to go to the private one, the one that's like normal life. Okay. At least. Can you do me that favor? Okay. This, along with reported perks such as meals sent to her dormitory room. Damn, she ain't even in a goddamn cell. She's in a dormitory. You know, I was in a dormitory in it was called the Mayor's Youth Leadership Institute. I don't know how many of y'all in Washington, D.C. know about that. Mayor Barry's Youth Leadership Institute. We used to stay in George Washington. There's a couple of different campuses. Howard campus, GW campus, American University campuses. How many of y'all remember those days if you're from D.C.? I do. This, along with the reported perks such as meals sent to her dormitory, late night workouts, and permission to shower when the other inmates are in bed. Damn, that sounds like my life, except I'm free. I have led some critics to claim she's receiving the VIP treatment. Well, damn, you don't say. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, Maxwell is now serving her sentence at federal prison camp in Bryan, Texas. Damn, she's living that Texas life. What's up, Donnie? Describing conditions and yes, Andrea Vessa, what's up to you? Okay, describing conditions at federal prison camp Bryan, Maxwell wrote to a relative, the food is legions better. Legions better. Damn, that's that UK talk. Legions better. I mean, I wonder if she's eating caviar in this place. So she says that, okay, the place is clean, lobster and caviar. The staff is polite. Sounds civilized. I haven't heard or seen the usual foul language or screaming accompanied by threats leveled by inmates by anyone. So there's no, wow, you mean all that bad stuff goes on in the federal pen? Shit. I thought that was called rehabilitation. I have not seen a single fight, drug deal, passed out person, or naked inmate running around, or several of them congregating in the shower. In other words, I feel like I have dropped through Alice in Wonderland's looking glass. Who's Alice in Wonderland? It's like, nah, some of y'all out there saying, who the fuck is Alice in Wonderland? I never heard that. Yeah, okay. 63-year-old contrasted with the FCI Tallahassee in Florida. Oh, wow. She was there? What's up to Tallahassee? Where she described possums falling from ceilings. Today? Oh, I mean, goddamn. Possums? Damn. What the hell is going on? Who's making this shit up? Is somebody, what the fuck? Where she survived, she He described possums falling from ceilings, frying on ovens. What the hell? And mingling with food being served. Possums mingling with food being served. Possums frying from ovens. Possums falling from the ceilings. Damn, Tallahassee, what the hell? Possum soup, anybody? Possum stew? Hey, I hear you. What the hell? I mean, possum stew isn't that bad. What the hell? But damn, that's a whole lot of wild shit. What y'all got next? Chickens running around there? Some of Maxwell's new inmates. I mean, as long as y'all ain't eating rats, damn, I got you. It's a step up, I guess. Some of Maxwell's new inmates have told the Wall Street Journal that they have been threatened with retaliation if they speak about her to the media. Ooh, what? With reports, that sounds criminal. Threats sound criminal. Is that not a threat? Is that a criminal threat, y'all? Isn't it illegal to threaten somebody? With reports suggesting at least one was transferred. That doesn't sound too fair. Her lawyer, David Oscar Marcus, told NBC News there's nothing journalistic about publishing a prisoner's private emails. Yes, there is. I I beg to differ. I'm enjoying this. This is some excellent journalism. What the hell is he talking about? There's nothing journalistic about publishing a prisoner's private emails, including ones with her lawyers. You're wrong, buddy. This is very journalistic. That's tabloid behavior, not responsible reporting. Shit. David Oscar, fuck off. Anyone still interested in that kind of gossip reveals far more about themselves. He's trying to gaslight people. Okay, it's time to, anytime somebody of the elite class, has some journalism done on them, how can you behave like this? It's time to get over the fact that she's in a safer facility. Man, fuck off, dude. What are you talking about? This is gaslighting, y'all. He's telling American people, get over it. She's better than you. She's getting special treatment because she's of the upper class. That's normal. Get used to it. Are you going to get used to that? I mean, I say this is the type of shit where, I'm sorry, but metaphorically speaking, he deserves a slap. Like, for real. Like, this is crazy. Like, and anybody else talking this crazy shit, this is outright elitism. That he's speaking. And and it is what it is. If people like this kind of stuff, then continue voting for people like Trump. Okay, vote for J.D. Vance if you like this stuff. Vote for Marco Rubio. Vote for anybody in that cabinet, and you will get this. You can continue this kind of life where you're less than someone else, right? Just because of they're associated with billions of dollars and you're not. You can vote for that again. Anyone still interested in that kind of gossip? Blah blah blah. Anyway, that's some real shit. That's a real story. I mean, this story is gone viral. This is across the world, right? Look, say NBC is according to her lawyer, NBC is not. This is not journalism. This is gossip tabloid stuff here. Blah blah blah. Okay, so it's being reported everywhere, and it's being reported in the international news too. Also, this story, Comey seeks to dismiss charges alleging fundamental errors before the grand jury. I'm sure y'all heard of that. This is against Comey, but similar thing has happened with the Letitia James situation. This person who indicted them ain't shit, basically. Is not a lawyer. Doesn't do lawyerly shit. Doesn't follow law procedure, Former FBI Director James Comey is seeking to dismiss the criminal case against him because of what he claims were fundamental errors in the grand jury process, and interim U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan's handling of the indictment. The Comey filing submitted to the federal court in Alexandria, Virginia on Friday reflects information revealed during a court proceeding. Earlier this week, during the federal procedure, said that the grand jury that indicted Comey on 2 criminal counts did not vote on the operative indictment. That is crazy. So she didn't even show them the full indictment that they voted on. I mean, come on, isn't this criminal? Defense lawyer said that said that the grand jury rejected the only indictment that Halligan presented to it and argued that the government's attempt to prosecute Comey without a valid indictment violates his Fifth Amendment rights. In addition to questioning the validity of the operative indictment, which charges Comey with one count of lying. Isn't this some bullshit? I mean, you just come into court, lie all on a man, and you charging him with lying. Like, what the fuck? This is bullshit. This is just pure corruption. And I would say it's criminal. You know, it's not legal to falsely charge somebody, you know, knowingly. You know, that's goddamn illegal. I'm sure that has charges in itself. Which charges Comey with one count of lying to the Congress and one count of obstructing. It was. They sound like they doing all the lying and all the obstructing here, the prosecution in a congressional proceeding. The defense lawyers argued in the case the case should be dismissed because of alleged misconduct by Halligan before the grand jury. Dismissed, and she should be tried. Halligan, who was appointed interim U.S. attorney in late September, mere days before Comey was indicted, so she spent a lot of time on this case, 2 days, was the only prosecutor who presented the case against Comey before the grand jury. Okay, so she went in there alone. She didn't have a team, right, and only she signed the indictment. Okay, damn, Comey has pleaded not guilty. Okay, so, right. Yeah, so this is just a similar. This kind of parrots Letitia James's situation also. The Trump administration going after its past political rivals or people that worked on cases for him. This is some crazy stuff here. But in any case, y'all, that stuff is happening, and it doesn't look like Trump is doing too well. But he's losing all of these goddamn cases. For one, he's losing all of these cases. These are not cases that he can really win. But for some reason, I think that he wanted to do them. It appears that he wanted these cases just to distract. I mean, he knows that he's doing bad. He's not. I mean, it is hard. You know, we say every time people look at Trump, he looks sickly. He is sickly. He's mental. I mean, I would even say the man there's something not right, man. He has no experience in government and no willingness to follow law, to know law, you know? And I think Trump, you know, so he confuses people, right? But he does appear to know that being on the attack, you know, helps you. You know, it helps you in a lot of ways. That tactic he knows. But so he's on the attack. He's indicting people, but he's losing all these cases. You know, Trump loses most of the cases he puts forth, and these ones he's going to lose even faster, just because there's even less argument being made. You know, it's just like indicting for the sake of indicting, which obviously doesn't work in his favor in the long run. You know, in the short run, it might make people fearful, which is also something else he might be getting out of it in the immediate, right? But, you know, shortly after the immediate, the effects wear off. But in any case, the right wing, Fox News, all of them, they have been fucking tripping out over this meeting. Their heads have been exploding. How many of y'all saw this? I mean, have y'all been following this story that Mamdani that went to New York City? Have y'all followed this? Oh, let me put my camera back on. Y'all remember this? Y'all been following this shit? This is a crazy event. This has got the right wing. This got Sean Hannity's head exploding. This got what's this Jesse, whatever the hell his name is, head exploding. I mean, this has all the right wingers' heads exploding. Like, this dude hit a main vein when he had Mamdani in this meeting. I mean, this is crazy. This is insane. Did you see this? Put a 1 in the chat if you saw this. Put a 1 in the chat. Okay, somebody said speak English. Okay, please, sir, put a 1 in the chat if you saw Mamdani meeting with Trump in the White House. Please do that now. The number 1. Okay. In case you don't understand my particular vernacular. And also, don't worry, because some English is being spoken here. And guess what? It's not the type of English you like, apparently, but just because of the news value. But here it is again. Check it out. This is what happened. Where is it at? Here we go. Mamdani.
Now I'm Kristen Welker in Washington. We've been listening to President Trump and New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani taking questions from reporters in their first face-to-face meeting, striking a notably and extraordinarily constructive tone with each other. The president calling it a great meeting and praising Mr. Mamdani's victory and wishing him success. We are standing by right now to see if the mayor-elect will speak to reporters gathered outside the Oval Office. That is the expectation. It comes after, during his campaign, Mayor-elect Mamdani said he would be the president's, quote, worst nightmare. And President Trump had called Mamdani a communist lunatic and threatened to cut off billions of dollars in federal funds to the city. But the two rivals telling reporters they've found common ground in their meeting on issues of affordability and crime. Take a listen.
Just had a great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. But I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have hopefully a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am, I will say. There's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true.
Can you understand Trump's English? Sir. So who was that who said, speak English? Let me see. Can you understand Trump's English, Barney? Is his English clean enough for you? What about Mamdani's? Is his English clean enough for you? Here, let's listen. What about the journalist? Who had clean English here, clear enough English here? Let's hear again.
And President Trump had called Mamdani a communist lunatic and threatened to cut off billions of dollars in federal funds to the city. But the two rivals telling reporters they've found common ground in their meeting on issues of affordability and crime. Take a listen.
They found common ground. Common ground, Barney. Common ground, Barney. That's interesting, right?
A really good, very productive meeting. We have.
He said it was a very productive meeting, Barney.
One thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well.
They have one thing in common. They want this city of ours to do very well.
But I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have hopefully a really great mayor.
He wants to congratulate. I think you're going to have hopefully a great mayor, Barney.
The better he does, the happier I am.
The better he does, the happier Trump is.
Say there's no difference in party. There's no
difference in party at all.
Difference in anything, and we're going to be
no difference in anything at all, Barney.
Helping him.
He's going to be helping him. They're going to be helping him. We're going to be helping him.
To make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe.
To make everyone's dream come true, Barney, even yours. We're going to be working together to do that.
New York, and congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Congratulations. This was the spectacle of the year. I don't know why, but it's actually a great moment in history. This might have been the greatest moment in the Trump administration. This moment likely outshadows every other moment because he has meetings with full of people of yes men. That's all Trump has had for months, and for 8 goddamn months, people just sitting there and just nodding their head. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's it. I mean, for months, you finally got a person that's ran on a platform, was attacked by Trump, took it to him, stood his ground, went to his place of business, knocked on his motherfucking door. Boom, 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 boom. It's Mamdani. Open up. Went in there and actually gave a master class on how you do things in the political sphere and came out on top. Mamdani, well done. Well done. And, obviously they have to put some kind of spin on this because, in retrospect, I could see now that in Trump's mind, he made some slight comments like, yeah, you think you're the leader of the Democratic Party. man, the Democratic Party is not an idiotic, simple-minded party, you know. And that's a funny little move, I guess. I guess it's the only move Trump could make. And this is the only move the right wing could make, is try to, you know, use this to make fractions in the Democratic Party. But listen, when the alternative is slavery, that's going to be hard to do. It's going to be hard to use Mamdani as a fraction in the Democratic Party when your party promotes open slavery, promotes selling out the country, promotes robbing people of their constitutional rights, promotes, you know, all types of oppression, economic oppression, when your party is responsible for the debt that you know, the largest debt that's ever been accumulated in the history of the country. The Republican Party is. When you're responsible for the decline in the dollar, when you're responsible for the inflation people are experiencing right now, which is extreme, when you're responsible for the largest highest price in healthcare in the history of the country, it's hard to use anybody as a divisive tool. I mean, you may as well just give that one up. It ain't going to work. It's not that simple. There's more nuances to this, and there's more nuances to the American people. By the way, the Democratic Party is a huge tent. There's a center, there's a left, and there's a little right. Did you know that? You see what I mean? That's not new in the Democratic Party. What is new is maybe some of the people that Republicans call more left. But I say healthcare is center. I say education and housing is center. That's some bullshit that legacy media tries to sell people, that the left is the left. The left is damn center in the U.S. Like, what the hell is this? Across the Western world, education, healthcare, housing is central issues, center politics. You know, only in the U.S. does legacy media describe, and the Republicans describe center issues as far left. I mean, it's bullshit, you know?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Please.
I appreciated the meeting with the president, and as he said, it was a productive meeting focused on a place of shared admiration and love, which is New York City, and the need to deliver affordability to New Yorkers, the 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with the president. I appreciated the conversation. I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability for New Yorkers.
Do me a favor, click the like button, y'all. It helps more people get the algorithm, get the message sent out to them. Yeah, but you saw how he handled this. Now, this is one thing I wanted to analyze here. I didn't do yesterday when this actually happened. You should see the stream. If you missed the stream from yesterday, I covered this live when it was going on live. Now today is in retrospect, right? And there's some things I want to just highlight here. There's some things I want to highlight. And it's not just the speech, but listen, the posture of Mamdani, how he's holding his hands, how he's speaking. Let me just tell you, he spoke and presented himself better than anyone in Trump's cabinet ever has in this last 10 months. Like straight up, you know, this guy obviously, you know, is used to delivering material with a high academic standard, meaning his speaking, right? The way he formulates his thoughts, right? The way he presents his thoughts. You see, his body language, his stance is everything diplomatic you would want a person to be. Everything you would pretty much want a civil servant to be. Obama was a lot like this, and many others are a lot like this. Although, caution, a lot of Democrats, I mean, sometimes a lot of independents would see this kind of stuff as weak. I mean, think about it. If you think about a lot of our internal criticisms, we see how a lot of people criticize and look at Hakeem Jeffries and they're like, fight, 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 or want him to use different language. Did you hear Mamdani use What kind of language did Mamdani use? How did he present himself? You see, so I think a lot of times we criticize roles and confuse roles and jobs as character and motives and intent. And that's not the same thing necessarily. Or how can I say this? We confuse roles, meaning Hakeem Jeffries' job is not just the job of a congressman. It's the job of the leader of the congressional caucus, minority or majority. So his job is speaking to his own constituency. His constituency is big. It's the people that voted for him in his state, the people that voted for every other congressional member in that party, and the people that voted for the other congressional members across the aisle, because that's who you got to communicate to make deals with if you're not the majority party, right? Even if you're the majority party, you have to communicate across the aisle. As you have seen happen, Republicans couldn't get certain things happening without Democrats. So who do you send? Do you send your most hostile or the most vocal opponent out, overtly vocal, or do you send the one that is more nuanced over to make the deals? Of course you send that. So this is what Mamdani, he gave a masterclass in. And you could see Trump was very receptive to that, right? Right. But just look at the hands now. Let me play this some more. Look at the hands.
Forward to working.
Hold on. Y'all can't see the hands, right? You can't see the hands right now. How do I fix that? Is that something I'm doing here? Yeah, let me see. Can I remove that? Let me try to remove that real quick. 2 seconds. Yeah, I don't want this. There we go. Okay, so let me move it back now. Can y'all see that? You see his hands? You see his arms? Now, I'm just going to play this back so you can see how he's speaking at the same time in his body language, right? It's very nuanced, right? Not a lot of animation. Now hold on. Now you also cannot see Trump's hands here. Let me make it a little smaller. Can you see Trump's hands now? Those are his regular hands. This is how he holds his hands in this meeting all the time. He's clenching his hands. Look at Mamdani's hands. Let me try to move it up a little bit. Look at Mamdani's hands here. Can I make that a little bigger? His arms are centered, they're coming down from left. It's what do they call it? Damn, what's the term? I'm sorry. Damn, I'm sorry. This is early. It's like it's almost 7:31. I've been up since 6 a.m. It's, you could see that it's, his stance is very erect, but it's not aggressive, and there's symmetry to his stance, right? Trump, you can see his shoulders are he's an old man, he's leaning, there's not a lot of symmetry there. So everything about Mamdani is collected, cool, calm, and collected, and to me, that tells me he knows exactly what he was doing when he went into this place, and he recognizes exactly what he's doing when he's doing it in this moment, in the moment. Like, he's totally conscious of what's happening and perceptions. Like, he knows what he's doing speaks volumes, just how he's standing and speaking. Not what he's saying, but how he's saying it, right? He knows that's giving off 100% competence. He's giving off competence and know-how just in how he's standing. So let's hear
to make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York. And congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Please.
I appreciated the meeting with the president, and as he said, it was a productive meeting focused on a place of shared admiration and love, which is New York City. and the need to deliver affordability to New Yorkers, the 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with the President, I appreciated the conversation. I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability for New Yorkers.
The warm optics just extraordinary after months of these two men trading barbs against each other. All of that dropped today with this Oval Office visit. Mr. Mamdani also asked by reporters if he was going to retract his past attacks on the president. He dodged, saying both he and the president speak their mind. The president downplayed the attack, saying he's been called a lot worse.
Oh, hold on. Tia, what's up, Tia? You said watch him. Let me go back then. You said watch him after he shakes his hands. Okay, let's do that. Let me see here.
Dollars in federal funds to the city.
They shook hands right here, right? At the end. No, you know what? Let me check it. I'm going to check the original. Oh, okay. Here we go. Right here. You talking about this moment. Here we go.
Back on playing up that connection with the president, playing up the idea that there are perhaps more things they agree upon than that they disagree upon. Our colleague Ryan Nobles likes to say, he's exactly right, that the political spectrum.
Okay, that one's not live, but I can go back to the original. This is just some reporting done on it, what happened, in retrospect. But I'm going to check that out, too.
That dropped today with this Oval Office visit. Mr. Mamdani also asked by reporters if he was going to retract his past attacks on the president. He dodged, saying both he and the president speak their mind. The president downplayed the attack, saying he's been called a lot worse. The constructive and friendly tone of this meeting decidedly different than what we heard during the mayoral campaign, where the president played an outsized role in setting off a fierce political rivalry.
I am Donald Trump's worst nightmare as a progressive Muslim immigrant who actually fights for the things that I believe in. Our city is under attack by an authoritarian Trump administration.
I call him my little communist. He's my little communist mayor. It's going to be hard for me as the president.
Now, when Fox News, we're going to review some Fox News. When Fox News is dumping this, listen, this is one thing people are starting to see about Trump. Trump approaches things in a very particular way, and it has nothing to do with government, has nothing to do with norms, law, or any of that shit. Trump, number one, if he likes you, he likes you. It's only for his reasoning only. It has nothing to do with your reasoning or anything else. It's subservient. It serves him in some kind of way directly, right? Which is the opposite of being a civil servant, right? Of being an elected official. You're there to serve the public, everybody else but you. That's the entire opposite, Now, but Trump, there's people making parallels between how Trump arose within his own party. Like he was an outsider. He wasn't your normal Republican candidate, not your normal conservative. And he was an outsider. People didn't even think he could win. Right, according to him and according to others in his cabinet and blah, 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 on and on. Right. According to Jeffrey Epstein, according to Trump. Right now, he changed the Republican Party to fit him. Now, when you look at Mamdani, there was a lot of people that didn't think Mamdani could win. And I think there's people speculating and saying in retrospect that might have a lot to do with what's going on here. And that may be true. I mean, it could be true. I think there's something to that. But it doesn't matter, again, because this is what Trump is. He's a one-man show. He in this moment, threw everyone in his cabinet under the bus. MAGA is having a fit over the fact that he treated Mamdani better than he treats people normally. Mamdani had to take insults from these very people, being called a socialist, being called a communist, being called a terrorist, being called an anti-Semitic, all the racial tropes, all the Islamic tropes that bigots generally first grab at, he had to, endure, right? And these people back Trump up in those things. And then from one day to the next, Trump is like a totally complete different guy. Not only that, but Trump literally treated him better than he would treat J.D. Vance. This shit is crazy. And I pointed that out last night. Like, this is insane. Like, he treated this guy better. This is the real slap in the face. He treated him better than anyone he has ever treated in his own cabinet or that's ever come there. Look at how he treated the Ukrainian president. And there's people dying. According to Trump, thousands of people dying every month. 7,000 people dying every month, according to Trump. That's his own data. Others say more. And he treated the Ukrainian president like shit. But even his own cabinet, even people that are on his own side, they don't seem to have the freedom that Mamdani had. Mamdani spoke on his own. He interjected and spoke. He spoke as he normally speaks at any press conference, at any meeting. There was nothing he changed for Trump. Trump changed a whole lot of shit for Mamdani. Like, that is really obvious. Look.
To give a lot of money to New York, because if you have a communist running New York.
This is him before the meeting. If you have a communist running New York,
all you're doing is wasting the money you're sending there.
Whatever happened to the Democrat socialists being the enemy? So was that a hoax too? Was that a hoax? Or was that real? Are the Democrats socialists and communists? Or is that real? Because that's what he said about Mamdani, but then he had no problem meeting with Mamdani.
The president.
It's not just did he treat Mamdani better than he treated Schumer or Hakeem. Okay, if you're an independent and you don't like Schumer and Hakeem, or if you're part of the left that doesn't like them, which I think is perfectly fine. I don't have an issue with liking anybody because they're all elected officials. Who gives a damn if you like them or not? I don't vote on, and I don't go on who I like. I go on who's fucking effective. Period. You see what I'm saying? But I do recognize a track record, and I do recognize game, and the Democrats got game. You know, people criticize Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi has fucking experience that you can only get with time in the trenches. Period. There's nothing you can say about Nancy Pelosi, and she's a woman that achieved that in a country that's never had a woman as a president and only had one vice president. I'm sorry, but you can't fuck with that. Okay? Just like you can't fuck with Kamala Harris. You can't fuck with Schumer. You can't fuck with Hakeem Jeffries. But you can criticize them for their record if you choose to, right? And you should, just as we're free to criticize anybody. But, so I don't go into that this way. But this guy, he called them communists, socialists, all of that same shit. He called Zoran the same thing, right? And now he just flipped the script. He just totally flipped the script. So what does that mean? Does it mean that talking point, communist, socialist, is not real? That's just something they say? Is that what that means? Or does it mean that it's real, but you can get along and work with these people because they're not that bad after all? What does it mean to you, MAGA folks? That's what I'm curious about. To me, it means it's a hoax, because again, housing, education, and healthcare are center issues in every other Western democracy, every other Western republic, every other, for those of you that like that word, but for every other NATO nation. Okay. Only in the United States is that considered extreme socialist, left-wing communist talk.
To give a lot of money to New York, because if you have a communist running New York, all you're doing is wasting the money you're sending there.
If anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him. So hear me.
Damn, that's deep.
President Trump, when I say this, to get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
Just as a little reminder, last month, the Trump administration froze $18 billion in infrastructure projects for the city during the government shutdown. And as we heard, the president has threatened more cuts. I will be speaking to Mayor-elect Mamdani exclusively. We will bring that to you on Sunday on Meet the Press, fresh off his meeting with President Trump and as he readies for the realities of governing the country's largest city, what has been described as the hardest job in politics next to the president. NBC News senior White House correspondent Garrett Haake joins me now from outside the White House. Garrett, boy, you and I have spent all day, all week trying to think about what is this meeting going to look like between President Trump and Mayor-elect Mamdani. And there it was, a bromance was formed with President Trump saying that he thinks that Mayor-elect Mamdani is going to do a good job. They said that they talked about various issues from affordability to ICE to crime to safety. But on each of these notes, Garrett, President Trump making it clear he believes they found common ground. And really what we're seeing is a populist thread between these two men.
That's exactly right. I mean, look, we knew there would be fireworks, but these appeared to be the celebratory kind here today as a worst nightmare turned into a potential dream.
All right, we got to get this is okay. This is CNN covering this, you know, and of course they have their perspective on it, and I dig that now. This is crazy because but Fox News, they just had a heart attack over this shit. This was like far worse for them. Let me see here. Where the hell is Fox at with this stuff? Jesse Waters. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, Jeffrey Waters. Look at this.
I want to go out to Jackie Heinrich, who's asking those great questions right in the Oval Office moments ago. She was in the room. Jackie, your impression of the get-together we all witnessed?
You know, it was a surprise to see those two getting along as well as they did. A couple of times I asked the mayor-elect a tougher question, and the president almost helped him dodge it. Take a listen to one of them.
I want to ask the mayor-elect about a House resolution. It just passed.
What you know what it is? See, I came to this thought in retrospect. I had a few. Everybody does, right? But the last thing that came to my mind is that before, you know, I made the association of what was the association? It was Trump. Why would Trump do this? Yeah, right. That okay. They're both. Some people in legacy media said they're both from Queens. Okay, some people make that association. Others say, like I was expressing out there, that it has something to do with they're both self-made. Like they didn't have their party's backing when they won. Totally not 100%. You know, they were the question marks in the party when they ran for the election. Okay, these kind of things. Now, also, we speculated bits. You know, you brought it up, or Tia was one of you, that he just came off of some two black eyes. Like, Trump really has gotten beat up in the last couple weeks. Like, he has really taken a shellacking, you know, and so he needed some kind of victory. And then also the correlation is that, okay, this is a chance for him to maybe try to splinter the Democratic Party by suggesting that, oh, you know, I can talk to Mamdani, but not Schumer or Hakeem, you know, see this kind of thinking. But actually, if you ask me, there was one other thing. I think that Trump, it's the vote, the Epstein vote. Like, Trump lost the Congress and the Senate with the Epstein vote, you know. So I'm starting to think his behavior have something to do with that, actually. Let me see here. I just want to be sure of the timing, but this is my real, you know, the thought that the thing that's been popping up in my mind, is that, let me see here, timeline, right, 18, right, so it is, you know, and, right, it is, so, it's 2 days before, so to me, that's the most significant event that happened, and Trump got an ass whooping with that, and if that's what you meant, Bits, is that what you mean? Like the black eye, the shellacking? Right. This Trump definitely lost that Epstein. He fought and fought and fought. MAGA Mike Johnson fought and fought and fought. And they didn't look. The Republicans, 4 Republicans in Congress flipped on him, and the Senate didn't even want to touch it. No Republican senator wanted to touch it. And I think that might have been something, that changed this meeting, because if they don't have your back, Trump is very much transactional, tit for tat. If you don't do this, I don't do that. And I think this is the departure of Trump from the Republican Party. Like, I think this is really it for him. And I think he showed that maybe with Mamdani. Now, if there's some other reasons, like Mamdani can help him in New York somehow with his transition out of power, with some of his property or something there, that might have something to do with it. Who knows? But it appears to me that, I always go with the data, and the chronology of this is those votes. Trump lost those votes days before this meeting, 2 days, maybe even less than 48 hours, but 2 days before this Mamdani meeting. And his whole attitude was different towards the person he was calling communist, anti-Semite or whatever else, socialist, all these things, Democrats are going full communism with Mamdani. All that changed and went out the window. So I'm pretty much thinking that is what it is. I'm not sure if that's it. Of course, these are just my own thoughts in retrospect. But let's listen some more to Fox now.
Overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including with 86 Democrats, all of House Dem leadership, and the Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, despite his endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Condemn socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
Let me just play that question one more time. And again, this is Fox, obviously, so.
That
I have to be honest.
House resolution.
Her question, and the president almost helped him dodge it. Take a listen to one of them.
I want to ask the mayor-elect about a House resolution just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including with 86 Democrats, all of House Dem leadership, and the Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, despite his endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
What?
The mayor-elect about a House resolution just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism.
Right, exactly. Okay, I was confused about what she was talking about. Exactly. Okay.
Including with 86 Democrats, all of House Dem leadership, and the Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, despite his endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Condemn socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology.
Well, there's something people need to understand here is that Fox is legacy media. So they're corporate media. And corporate media is basically against fairness. They're for socialism for the rich. That's what they're for. But it's the terms they use. They don't call it socialism when it's your tax dollars going to them, right? They only call it socialism when you want your tax dollars to work for roads in your town, schools in your town, and healthcare in your town. That's when they start calling it socialism, right? They don't call it socialism when your tax dollars pays for the greatest military to have ever existed in the world, in the history of mankind. The U.S. has a socialist approach to the U.S. military, right? Rank and file. You get the pay according to this and that. It doesn't matter what your productivity is. There's no creativity in it. Okay. You don't get to think. You don't get to create. You don't get rewarded for, doing, having more progress. Okay. So I just want to let people know that they're just playing games with the corporate media is playing games. A democratic socialist is not even a socialist. Just be very clear about that. A democratic socialist is not a socialist. And again, countries in the West that have Canada, Denmark, all the NATO nations, they're not socialist nations either. And they have health care for everyone, education for everyone, and strong in the housing, public housing sector. You know, they don't it's not the private sector is thriving too, but they maintain a percentage for the public as well to make sure the average worker needs are met too, you know. And so when they're focusing on this, I haven't looked at the resolution, you know, when they say they condemn socialism, but be very clear. There are a couple of socialist countries left on earth, and that's North Korea, North Vietnam, and one other. OK, that's socialism. Just to keep in mind, you know, so they're kind of fear mongering with the American public to make you believe that center issues of health care, housing, and education are socialist issues, when, you know, what countries are doing that? What countries? They're not defining what they're talking about. They're just using a fear tactic by throwing that word out there, socialist. So I just wanted to put that out. Now let's listen to some more.
But the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
I'm gonna look up this House resolution right now. Let's go.
Oh, it cut off a little bit early, but I followed up asking the president, or asking Mamdani rather, to clarify an answer that he gave earlier, where he seemed to confirm that he does believe President Trump is a fascist. And the president jumped in and said, you don't have to answer that. You can just say yes. There were substantive conversations we are told.
This looks like this is Fox News about to turn against Trump. You know, the Republicans, the people that are for the billionaires are about to turn against Trump. Basically, they don't need him anymore. He's out of there pretty much. And I think Trump knows it. And he knows the play on the Epstein files is basically going to take him down. He knows other Republicans are going to distance themselves from him now, that they can't use him. And they know that the billionaire class has to pivot to someone else to protect their interest. And Fox News is a part of that. Although they claim to be like anti-CNN, they claim CNN is the left. But no, they're both corporate news entities that pretty much promote corporate, in a corporate elite structure. For example, they're not going to tell you. They're not really going to tell you how what percentage of your tax dollars goes to directly impact your own life in the United States. Like, they're not going to have that conversation on Fox News or on CNN. You see what I mean? They're not interested in that. They're not going to tell you what percentage of tax dollars that Canadians pay directly impact their lives versus don't directly impact their lives. They're not going to have that conversation because they don't want you to make those parallels and start being able to see through this this stronghold they have, the corporate elites have on the American taxpayer. But American taxpayers finance the rich in the U.S. You're literally subsidizing their products, and you're having the finger directed back at you, saying that you are the problem. Stop asking for your tax dollars to have the same effect on your life as it has on theirs. It's crazy.
Told about crime and public safety and how the two sides can work together. The president said that regular folks would be surprised at how much they do agree on. He expressed that the mayor-elect has some interesting ideas about housing and some other cost of living issues that maybe they could find some agreement toward. I asked, because crime and public safety kept coming up so many times, if that meant working together on ICE and having ICE agents do the work that we are seeing in so many other cities. Zoran Mamdani had,
what is ICE doing? ICE has nothing to do with crime. ICE is just picking up, looking for people that aren't committing crimes. They're looking for the crime. With ICE is literally whether you're a legal resident or not. That's the only crime you're going after. So, I mean, They don't have the expertise to go after any other crime. All the crime. The majority of drug traffickers in the United States are American citizens. The majority of gun crimes and murders are done by American citizens. The majority of rapes, far majority of rapes, sexual assaults done by American citizens. These are red and blue-blooded American citizens committing these crimes. And ICE has nothing to do with that. They're only there to find the maid in somebody's house that's working, there to send her kids to school, to afford to be able to get clothes for her kids when they go to school. They're going to rip that person away from their family and throw them out of the country. That's what they're looking for. That's what people have been saying. But let me let that play out, and then we're going to pivot over to that bill.
Obviously said that he does not believe that ICE should exist and have the role that it's having across the country. And he said in his answer that there are, I believe, 173 areas of serious crimes in which they will work together. So that was interesting. You also heard the mayor-elect.
That was a comprehensive answer.
Affirm that he will keep
a quantitative answer. I mean, and 176 sounds like a lot, right? You can't hate that if you only know one illegal immigrant.
New York City police force, 35,000 strong. And that was significant. And the president multiple times seemed to downplay the idea that maybe they would not be able to work together, despite all of this fiery rhetoric on the campaign. You hear President Trump routinely call Mamdani a communist. You routinely hear Mamdani talk about how his administration is going to be a nightmare for the president. But there was not that tension in the room. They were clearly trying to find ways to move forward together. And President Trump also made clear that this is, about New York City, the city where he, built his life and career, has a lot of love and affection for. He even said that one day, he longed to be the mayor of New York City. That's how much he loves that city. And so he's wishing Mamdani a lot of success.
Wow. Okay. So that's Fox. That wasn't too bad, but Jesse Waters goes in. But check this out. All right. So she was talking about a bill, denounce the horrors of, it's Resolution 58, denouncing the horrors of socialism, right? So, and that was sponsored by Maria Salazar, a Republican. That was passed on the 21st, right? Vote. There was, I guess there's 285 Republicans and 98 Democrats, maybe. I guess that was it. Or no, I'm sorry. There's 285 in favor, 98 not in favor. And that's just from whatever parties together. The resolution denounces socialism in all of its forms and opposes the implementation of socialist policies in the United States. Okay, the text explicitly references historical socialist regimes, Lenin, Stalin, Mao, Castro. You see what I'm saying? You see? So, Pol Pot, this has nothing to do with Western democracies having health care, having education, free and paid education. Nothing. But so legacy media, this is the fault of legacy media not reporting on that. Using using this fear mongering against American people, like straight up. And American people need to integrate this shit firmly into their argumentation now. They need to go back, read the bill. I'm going to open the bill up in a second. Read the bill and understand, that they need to stop being manipulated this way by legacy media. I mean, so stop when a person says healthcare for all, stop calling it socialist, because that is not what socialism fucking is. Anybody with a historical understanding of socialism, a political one, knows that that's not what socialism is in the first fucking place. Education for all is not socialism. It's just not. Got nothing to do with it. Just like FDR was not a socialist. Okay? Just like you want to call things socialist, then what is your military? Is that socialist? Yes, that would be the biggest socialist project in the world too. Like straight up. The most heavily financed one. You see what I'm saying? It's a project. It's a socialist project, but it's not coming from a socialist nation. Okay? And that's what you could call it if you want to use the word socialist. You see what I mean? All taxpayers pay into it. It functions 100% only on tax dollars. It is a non-profit entity. You see what I'm saying? It's not making you money. It's not putting money in the American taxpayer's pocket. No, that's not what it's for. That's not what it's supposed to be used for. You see, so Americans got to take back this conversation. So let me open up this document here. This is what they passed. Let me see here. Boom. Where is it at? Is it here? Hold on. Let's open it up. Here we go. Let me make the text a little bigger for people to see. Hope y'all can see this now. All right, let me get my camera off the screen also. Boom. Okay, this is the bill they're talking about. All right, can y'all see this? Right, here we go. All right, so right, it was sponsored by Salazar. Okay, let's see here. Let's go down. Agreed in the House. Right, it's introduced and it's agreed in the House. Okay. Now let's do this. Should we do the summary or should we open the whole bill? Hold on, let me see something here. We can listen.
There is one summary for H. Con. Res. 58.
All right, let me open it up. Summary. Boom. Text. Okay, where's the summary? Is it listed here? Oh, right. Okay, here we go. Whereas socialist ideology necessitates a concentration of power that has time and time again collapsed into communist regimes, totalitarian rule, and brutal dictatorships, whereas socialism has repeatedly led to famine and mass murders and the killing of over 100 million people worldwide. Yeah, they talking about Mao had a big, situation with that. Whereas many of the greatest crimes in history were committed by socialist ideologues, including Vladimir Lenin, Joseph Stalin. Okay, these are Russians, right? Mao, okay, that's Chinese. Fidel Castro, right? Pol Pot, Vietnam. Kim Jong-il, right? That's North Korea. Kim Jong-un, that's North Korea. Daniel Ortega. Where's Daniel Ortega from? Hugo Chavez. Okay, Hugo Chavez is damn, we're there now, Venezuela, but Nicolas Maduro, okay? So they're citing him in this bill, right? They're citing these people in this bill. But the problem is this. Mamdani ain't got shit to do with that. That's not what he's talking about. And that has nothing to do with healthcare in the Western world. Has nothing to do with education in the Western world. The cost of education, the cost of healthcare has nothing to do with it. You see, so they kind of match these ideas and throw this broad blanket when they want to combat Americans that are complaining about how their tax dollars are being used. And American people need to put their foot down on this and just say, stop the fucking fear mongering. Okay? It's not that. That's not what Mamdani is talking about. There's plenty of Western democracies that have free transportation. Did you know that? See, the key difference here is the engine, the economic engine. If the economic engine is free trade, then what you do with the tax dollars is none of your MFing business when it comes to housing, making sure housing is affordable. You're allowed to do that if your economic engine is generating, is generating dollars. You're allowed to say, hey, some of this money we're generating, it's allowed to actually help families, support families, not help, support, because it's their own tax dollars. It's not help, it's support. Just like you want to use it to support corporations, it can also be used to support working families. It can be used to support families that don't have work. It could be used to just support young people in education. It could be used to support citizens in healthcare. And they keep trying to confuse people about this. I mean, it's simple, you know, they fearmonger. So let's go back to this bill now. Let's see here. Whereas tens of millions died in Bolshevik revolution, at least 10 million people were sent to the gulags in the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, and the millions more starved in the terror famine. You know, this, where are they talking about Canada? Where are they talking about Denmark? So for all of you MAGA people that seems to think that having health care, public education is something to do with socialism, yo, here's your wake-up call. It doesn't. It doesn't. Okay? It just doesn't. That's not what it is. And you should stop saying that too. You should stop saying it. It's not in here at all. There's no mention of Denmark having tax dollars going. There's no mention of Denmark's tax dollars. There's no mention of tax dollars in Denmark when you have a child, everyone getting a check for that child. Everyone, no matter how much money you make. Yeah, that's what happens. There's no mention of when you go to school in Denmark, you get a stipend, you get paid. Everyone gets paid to go to school, university, technical school, trade school, whatever. There's no mention of that in this bill. There's no mention, because Denmark's a capitalistic country. They're not talking. It's not a socialist country. These countries that have it, they're not socialist. They might have parties that use that language, but none of them are voting to become socialist countries. You see what I'm saying? So they're mixing, and mincing words here. There's no mention of everyone having health care, public health care in Denmark. They don't have a problem with that in this bill. There's nothing in there about that. What's in here is about something else when they're talking about socialism, you see? And yeah, so I would encourage people to read this bill. That was the summary. Let me put the link in the chat for people. I'm going to read the whole thing, but I've read a lot of these bills, believe it or not, and not just from the U.S., but from the UN and from Denmark and just different states, different countries. But the U.S., a lot of them. I'm an American citizen, although I live abroad. I still read these bills, and those of you that don't know where they are, hey, your U.S. Congress is there, your Senate is there. It's not difficult to find. If you want to make that an objective of yours, there's not really an excuse. If you're on the internet, if you're on YouTube, then you should have read the bill. You should have read the bill. So here we go. The bill. Boom. And you could read it for yourself. You should probably read it for yourself before you have any problem with it too. But see, I have enough. I mean, I've been saying this for quite some time now. None of these Western countries are socialist countries. They're just not. And a lot of people get confused with it. And I would encourage people to even maybe stop using the word socialist to describe public health care. Just stop using the word, public education or public health care. Stop saying socialism, because it really kind of shows that you don't know what the Western world is like, what it's looking like. You don't know yourself. You don't know your own country. I mean, what do you think? What do you think the U.S. military is? I mean, the United States has socialist projects in effect and has for quite some time. Those are norms. Public education is one of them, although they've cut back on it. Did shit turn out well? No, because you're importing people from every other country across the globe for things you can't do, things that you're missing, and academia, serious things that have serious implications to engineering and other things that needs to be done in the country. Medicine, Engineering on all parts, whether it's the medical world, whether it's building bridges, whether it's infrastructure, for roads, whether it's infrastructure for power, whether it's anything. This AI shit, that shit wasn't even rolled out. You got Elon Musk. You had to import Elon Musk. The United States had to import Elon Musk. Basically, that's the best you got. You didn't raise a Elon Musk in the country. You see what I'm saying? You didn't educate one in the country, and now you're importing them. You see, and that's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, somebody in the chat says she confused. V is saying public school and healthcare aren't socialist, but Tia is saying no. That's not what's going on. People knew. I don't think you listening closely enough. What I'm saying is you can, if you put it in context, you can use those terms, just like Mamdani did. He said he's a democratic socialist. Now, you got to understand the terms. Now, if you know the world you live in, then you know what he's talking about is not socialism as in what this bill is talking about. See the bill there again? This bill is not talking about what Mamdani is talking about. This bill is not talking about public schools, eradicating public schools. This bill is not talking about health care. It's not. And as I already stated, there's only 3 socialist countries left on earth. Only 3. If you're confusing health care, public schools, public health care with socialism, like they're talking about it, that doesn't make any sense. Like Fox News is, like the Republicans are talking about, if you're talking about it that way, it makes no sense. If you mix that up with public health care, public schools, this kind of stuff, because those aren't the same things. You could have a socialist project, which the United States military is, that comes from a capitalistic democracy, which the United States also is. I hope you understand that. A capitalistic democracy can have socialist projects. Yes, you can say that. That makes sense, because that's all you actually see in the Western world when you're talking about countries that have universal health care, universal education. They're capitalist nations. They're not socialist nations doing this. You see, I hope you get that. There's some nuances there, and the media uses these nuances against the American people. American people need to know. Once you know what the rest of the Western world looks like, then you know how to apply these terms. Then you know what conversation they're having. And that's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm not trying to stop anybody from talking or having their own conversation. But in any case, that's my view of it. Now, let's go over to Jesse Waters' ass now.
A communist and a dictator walk into a bar.
I've had a lot of meetings with the heads of major countries. Nobody cared. This meeting that you people have gone, outside you have hundreds of people waiting. This is just a small little group. For some reason, the press has found this to be a very interesting meeting. The biggest people in the world, they come over from countries nobody cares. But they did care about this meeting.
The press was foaming at the mouth. They thought it'd be the biggest brawl since Zelensky.
Just days ago, you referred to President Trump as a despot who betrayed the country. You said you'd be his worst nightmare and accused him of
Yeah, exactly, Bits. Their argument is semantics. That's the point. But if you want to have your semantics elect you a person like Trump, then by all means go for it if that's what you're up to. But these same semantics were done. That's exactly how you got Trump. Not knowing what the hell you're talking about. Not being specific when you're speaking. You see what I'm saying? So, Bits, let them roll like that if that's what they want. I mean, I hope their pockets are doing well. I hope they like the price of their health care. I hope they like the cost of school and education. I hope they like that.
Are you planning to retract any of these?
I hope they like their electricity bill. I hope they like all the other bills. I hope they're getting the best out of their pockets right now, because that's what discussing semantics will get you.
In order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and I We are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting.
Let's try that again.
He's been called much worse than a despot. And he has. I mean, that's real talk.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay.
Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
The name calling, that's politics. Trump's been giving it and taking it his whole
Look at Jesse Waters' face. He hates this.
career. This sends a signal to Democrats that Trump's really about business. And if he really was a dictator, would you let some guy come into your house
Look at
and
that.
call you that?
Stop. No, this is bullshit.
And
look,
did
look at
Mamdani
this.
go in there and hide his face like big...
Look. Jesse Waters is such a two-faced. Look, he is totally caught off guard. Like everybody else. Be honest, Jesse. You don't have any fucking clue what's going on here. You were taken off guard. And now he's trying to explain. He's trying to Fox-explain it.
It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
The name calling.
Look at that. Look at that. That fake-ass laugh.
Fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay.
Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
The name calling, that's politics. Trump's been giving it and taking it his whole career. This sends a signal to Democrats.
Look at this. Trump's been giving it and taking it his whole career. What about you, Jesse? You're the one that was capping for Trump. So you saying you've been capping the whole time too? Does Jesse put a 1 in the chat if Jesse Waters still agrees with Trump on this meeting? Is Jesse happy? Put a 1 in the chat if Jesse is happy with this meeting. Put a 2 in the chat if you think he was caught blindsided and is Fox-splaining right now.
That Trump's really about business. And if he really was...
He's sending a message to Democrats saying Trump is really about business. Man, get the hell out of here. It's really about business. Man, you put tariffs on every ally that you ever had and drew up the price, the cost of living. What the hell are you talking about? This is not about business. This is about something else. This is nothing to do with business. He knew what he was doing. He knew he was fucking up the economy. He knew he was giving the top 1%, the biggest tax break in history, bringing up the debt higher than it's ever been bought. He knew it would drive up the cost of healthcare. He knew it would do kick in inflation even more. He knew he was firing 700,000 damn federal workers, damn near almost 1 million federal workers. He knew all of this shit, Jesse. What the hell are you talking about? Trump means business. Democrats don't think Trump means business. Nah, this is about something else. And you know what? It definitely is not about Trump following through for MAGA. MAGA lost their head. And Jesse, you faking like you ain't lose your head either?
As a dictator, would you let some guy come into your house and call you that? No. And did Mamdani go in there and hide his face like Big Gretch? No. Zoran's mayor, Trump's president. So let's get down to it.
Okay, so
I think you're going to have hopefully
So this is Jesse saying, guess what? Mamdani's really not a socialist. Mamdani's really not what do you call it? Anti-Semitic. This is Jesse Waters admitting. I mean, they're all admitting now. See, this is the thing. You can't have it both ways. Either you mean these terms when you say them or you don't. But this is legacy media. Millions of people are watching, and 1 million people go out and believe what they're literally saying. And now he's telling you that shit was all bullshit. Basically,
Trump's president.
He's not saying it from the right side. He's trying to say that, the Democrats would have never went in the room if they thought he was if Trump was a communist, if Trump was a dictator, he would never allow him in the room, right? Well, guess what? If Mamdani was an anti-Semitic, would Trump allow him in the room? If Mamdani was a socialist, would he let him in the room? If Mamdani was a terrorist, would he let him in the room? The same applies to him. So is it true? And this is him suggesting it. I'm not suggesting that. I think dictators, they look for anybody Shit, they go in the room. When was the last time you haven't seen American presidents have a dictator in the room? Jesse, you never. Let me just stop for a second here. How many dictators have been invited to the White House? I mean, what he's saying makes no goddamn sense. So you see, he's capping. He's capping. Look, Fidel Castro met President Jimmy Carter in the White House. Mobutu Sese Seko Zaire met Nixon and Ford and Reagan in the White House. Suharto from Indonesia met with Nixon. Okay, it's loads of them. Mussolini, Benito Mussolini. Benito Mussolini. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? He was hosted by the U.S. in ceremonies. You know, Mohammed Saeed Barr, Somalia, visited the White House 1970. Ferdinand Marcos from the Philippines multiple times. Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan. Hosni Mubarak, okay? Egypt, how many times? You know, it's crazy. Muammar Gaddafi, how many times? Robert Mugabe, come on, Manuel Noriega, goddamn, he met with Bush. Augusto Pinochet from Chile. Anybody from Chile in here? Remember Augustus? You know what I'm saying? Vladimir Putin. What the fuck is this dude talking? And this was George W. Bush. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell is he talking about? Does Jesse Waters know anything that he's ever saying? Please tell me. Chat, does Jesse Waters know what the fuck he's talking about? Yo, does he know what he's talking about? This dude is crazy. He's capping. Let's listen to this. There's more dictators. This is just the beginning of the list. Let's hear his shit again. Let's hear his argumentation. This is how he has to cover up Trump fucking his day up.
I've spoken about.
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
The name calling, that's politics. Trump's been giving it and taking it his whole career. This sends a signal to Democrats that Trump's really about business. And if he really was a dictator, would you let some guy come into your house and call you that? No. And did Mamdani go in there and hide his face like Big Gretch? No. Zoran's mayor, Trump's president, so let's get down to it.
I think you're going to have, hopefully, a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am. I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. A big help, because I want New York City to be great.
Trump and Zoran want the same thing for the city. They both want it to be safe and affordable.
Look, but what was Jesse Waters saying about his ass? Look at this shit. Hold on. What are the about Zoran Mamdani? Yeah, I don't watch this fool either, but I know exactly. I'm like, shit, let's do something different today. What is this? You know, I'm open to watch whatever and critique it. By the way, look at this. Jesse Waters, right? What he did. Jesse Waters, notable controversy comments by Jesse Waters about Zoran Mamdani. He wants to say, if Trump was this, would he say this about Trump? Well, what were you saying? Blaming single women for his victory. On the 5, Waters said that single women were a key force behind Mamdani's socialist takeover. Single women. That's what he said. Okay, keep that in mind. He painted a caricature of such women struggling in small, expensive apartments, having the wrong degree. Okay? Specifically, he said, you should have gotten a degree in like chemistry, biology, finance, computer science. Does he have a degree in any of those things? No, you got a degree in like Southeast Asian feminist literature. That's who he's, you know, okay. These remarks have been widely criticized as misogynistic. Okay. Now, nickname Zoran the Destroyer. That's what Jesse calls him, right? Waters dubbed Mamdani Zoran the Destroyer. The nickname frames Mamdani as a radical, threatening figure rather than a mainstream politician, mocking his lifestyle and background. In his comments, Waters talked about Mamdani being a young guy in his 30s in the clubs, eating kebabs with the cabbies, suggesting his identity and persona are unserious or otherwise. He also questioned whether Mamdani can deliver on his promises, implying he's all style and no substance. Tone of classism, elitism. Waters' remarks about degrees should have gotten a degree something useful, not feminist literature, carry a strong tone of elitism, suggesting that certain educational paths, especially in the humanities, are not useful. He frames the people who support Mamdani as out to lunch, economically insecure, or ideologically driven, rather than as rational political actors. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it goes on and on and on. Let me see here. What did he say here?
AOC brought home a very special guy today and had him meet the whole family for brunch. Just one problem. He's kind of a communist. And his name is Zoran the Destroyer, but we'll call him Zoolander. AOC calls it love at first sight, but her house is divided.
Get to know him. Get to know him. You know, this is not about...
So that's Jesse Waters then, and this is Jesse Waters now after this meeting.
Hopefully a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am. I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. A big help, because I want New York City to be great.
Trump and Zoran want the same thing for the city. They both want it to be safe and affordable. They might not always agree.
So now they want the same thing for the city. They want it to be safe and affordable. Now he gets it. Jesse Waters gets the whole thing now. He's a Zoran fan now. It's okay. Just immediately from one day to the next. I guess Jesse Waters was like, shit, man, what am I going to do? How am I going to explain this to my lady? How am I going to explain this shit to my kids?
Get there, but instead of bickering, they found common ground.
Instead of bickering, it's almost like I should be giving him this advice. Jesse Waters, I should have been telling you this the last 2-3 months. 4 or 5 months Zoran was running for office. Stop bickering. Okay? Like, you hear this? This is crazy. Who is he talking to? Like, stop bickering? What the fuck is he talking? He's the one who's been bickering. This dude has been bickering literally the whole fucking time. Whole time. How many episodes does this guy have? Yo, y'all click the like button for me, please. Hold on.
He wants to see a lot of...
Listen to what he said. He said, just stop bickering, y'all. He's the motherfucker that's been bickering.
Help, because I want New York City to be great.
Trump and Zoran want the same thing for the city. They both want it to be safe and affordable. They might not always agree on how to get there, but instead of bickering, they found common ground.
So why couldn't you do that, Jesse? Why couldn't you just stop fucking bickering? Okay, and give the man a chance. Damn, he didn't even want to meet the mother. He didn't want to meet Zoran and shit. He's just like, I'm going to go on TV every day and bicker about his ass. Fuck it.
He wants to see a lot of houses created, a lot of apartments built, etc. And you know, we actually people would be shocked, but I want to see the same.
Yeah, Eric. Yeah, exactly. Is the sky falling yet?
Thing.
Not just housing.
The cow jumped over the moon tonight.
Trump wants to rein in the electric company and help Mamdani fight crime. Trump says we're not going to throw good money after bad.
See, this is the same story legacy media did. Look, they talked about socialism to scare everybody out of voting for Democrats who want health care, affordable housing, and affordable education, for fair education. They screamed all of this stuff the whole time. And then they flip-flop. So when Trump went up there and took over got the U.S. government to take over part ownership of, what is it, Intel? You see what I mean? They didn't call that socialism. All of a sudden, that's not socialism. That's not socialism. Okay. Interesting. They didn't do that because that's what they would call it typically, right? They did the same thing. They just turned a blind eye to it. And now from one day to the next, you're seeing the blind eye be turned. I mean, this is corporate. This is how corporate media plays. They play in the center, the left, and the right. So they're going to do the same thing CNN does. Essentially, CNN will be the left media, corporate, however, right? Fox would be the right, extreme right, corporate, however, right? They both get the tax breaks, but they're not really informing. They're not breaking the ice. They're not really coming through with progressive stories. They're kind of just keeping the status quo. So now all of a sudden, Fox is going to get moderate. They're going to get a little more moderate, less extreme, follow the path of Trump, whichever path he wants to lead to make it okay. But at the end of the day, they really want to fight this stuff. At the end of the day, they are not going to be, no matter what Trump says, eventually if Trump says we need to have, everyone needs to have access to health care, everyone needs to have access to schools, they will totally abandon Trump one day to the next. He will become officially, instead of the guy who didn't do anything to any little girls, he will become the guy who did overnight, like in their eyes. They've been defending Trump against Epstein. Watch. It's coming. It's coming. They need to find another host to, embody, essentially, to protect their interests. And that's what they're going to do. They do it a million times.
Be sending money for government-run grocery stores. We're talking common sense bad, help Mamdani fight crime. Trump says we're not going to throw good money after bad. He's not going to be sending money for government-run grocery stores.
But did Trump ever say he never mentioned grocery stores? See, again, this is them trying to explain what's going on. You see, this is the corporate media. So he's trying to tell you, no. Not going to do anything that way about prices, right?
In the electric company and help Mamdani fight crime.
What's the difference between doing it with the electricity company and doing it with the grocery stores? What's the difference? Isn't it both? When the government intercedes, is that not socialism? What's the difference? And why does Jesse Waters fucking care so much? Because Jesse Waters was never told this stuff. Well, I mean, not that part about grocery stores. I watched the entire live interview. I heard him not mention one thing. Not one thing. Not Trump. He never said he was going to throw money there. So wasn't going to throw money there.
People would be shocked, but I want to see the same thing.
Not just housing. Trump wants to rein in the...
Anytime the government intercedes and throws money, for all intents and purposes, that's what's being called socialism. If you do it in the military, if you do it with the electricity prices to keep electricity prices down, that's socialism. If you do it in the grocery stores, that's a socialist project. That doesn't make your country a socialist nation. That makes it a socialist project. When you collect money from everybody and you give out SNAP, that's a socialist project. That's what that is. I mean, it's a project. You see, it doesn't mean your country's socialist, but that's a socialist project. When you collect taxes from all citizens and it goes towards the military, the U.S. citizens are the ones who pay for the U.S. military. That's a socialist project. That's what that is. It's not privatized. It's all run and paid for 100% by the taxpayers. And it works pretty well, although tracking how all the money is spent is not really that easy because it's a big project,
electric company and help Mamdani fight crime. Trump said...
What difference does it make? I mean, if you use it to keep the price of electricity down, if the government intercedes to keep the price of electricity down, that's a good thing. If they intercede to keep the cost of food prices down, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. It doesn't matter what country you're from. That's a good thing, especially when, because of your policies, loads of people can't afford food. I mean, what's the point of having a military if the military, who's the military protecting? People that can't eat? People that can't afford an education? People that can't afford health care? Is that who the military is protecting? What's the point? If they can die in the fucking streets inside of the U.S., what's the fucking point?
Says we're not going to throw good money after bad. He's not going to be sending money for government-run grocery stores. We're talking common sense stuff that helps them.
Oh, they got plenty of corporate handouts, boy. They got plenty of corporate handouts. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's where the problem is. The corporate handouts. They love corporate socialism. CNN, Fox News, they love the corporate socialism. That's what they love, And they got it on day one from Trump. They got it on day one from the Republican Party. That tax break, they got it right out the gate. And everyone else is still wondering where they fit in. What about me?
Some of their playbooks overlap.
I spoke to New Yorkers who had voted for the
Do me a favor, click the like button, y'all. It helps more people get in the conversation.
president last November. I heard again and again two major reasons. One was that they wanted an end to forever wars. They wanted an end to the taxpayer dollars we had funding violations of human rights, and they wanted to address the cost of living crisis.
A lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm okay with that.
Trump looks.
Look, Jesse Waters doesn't like that. It looks like he's going to just go right over that one. A lot of his voters actually voted for Zoran. Yeah, a lot of independents and a lot of Dems voted for Zoran. I mean, a lot of independents voted for Zoran. It's not Republicans, it's independents.
Had funding violations of human rights, and they wanted to address the cost of living crisis.
A lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm okay with that.
Trump looks at Zoran like young Bernie.
You see? He didn't even mention it. You see that? Like, that's...
And they wanted to address the cost of living crisis.
A lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm okay with that.
Trump looks at Zoran like young Bernie. Political outsiders who have some wacky ideas but have compassion for the working man and a lot of love from their base.
So you guys are wacky that supported Trump, and you guys are wacky that supported Zoran. I mean, anyway, this is just some bumbling bullshit here. Let's see. Let's go on.
Well, I think that, Jesse's points are good. It's obvious that Zoran needs the money. And Trump has said he will basically bleed the city dry if he doesn't like the way things are going, that he would cut off federal funding. But Zoran has a lot of problems because he has promised the Democrat Socialists of America.
The Democrat Socialists of America. You see now?
That he will not allow the police to work with ICE. Tish, the commissioner, has agreed to stay on, but she is a very principled person, and she has done a good job. Crime is down in New York City over the past 10 months. So she's not going to allow that to slip away from.
Okay, hold on for a second. Look at this. She said 10 months. Is crime down in the last 10 months in NYC, or did it begin to decline before? And if so, when? Boom. Yeah, see, that's another little bullshit talking point, because it didn't start declining. You know, it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. But here, let's see here. I mean, crime is down now. Don't get me wrong. I think crime is down. Look, it was down from 2023. Let's see here. Yeah, for 2023, crime has been down. Right. Well, what else does it say? Yeah, but it has significantly gone down more since since ICE. And I think it's not just that, that has gone down. It's just business. A lot of things have gone down. People not outside. People are not outside with ICE. People are staying away from ICE. American citizens don't want to be harassed. They don't want to be stopped. They don't want to be made late to go to work. They don't want to be hurt or harmed, But yeah, the decline is started before, just like a lot of cities that they sent ICE to,
From her. So he's in a rock and a hard place. He's got to figure out how he's going to maneuver all of this. And he learned quickly on the campaign trail, and he did well in the race.
That's so funny how they describe it as he's in a rock and a hard place. But Trump said he was going to help him.
But he's got the Democratic Socialists are having these meetings saying, like, we own him. We own this guy, and we are not going to let him do whatever he wants. He is ours. So it's going to be, I think it'll be kind of funny if they get like the you're a commie, you're a fascist stuff like right out at the beginning. I also just want to remind people of, go back and listen to Mamdani's acceptance speech on election night.
You see that? Capitalist versus communist. So is this an honest conversation that's happening here on Fox News? Now, I know that sounds ridiculous to a lot of people that are, Dems or on the left, because I know it's not an honest one. But I just want to get an understanding, because everybody's not a Dem here or on the left. So is this an honest conversation? Capitalist versus communist? Just in the dialogue of Democrats and Republicans, just American people. Is the politics having anything? Is this honest? Is this the best they could do in the conversation to describe what Americans want? Put a 1 in the chat if you think this is the best they could do, to be honest. And put a 2 in the chat if you think this is dishonest. Me, myself, I think this is dishonest, like straight up, you know. I don't know any Democrat communist. I don't know any communist, even in Denmark. I'm an American citizen, but I live in Denmark. I've never met any communists here. I've never lived in a communist nation. I don't think education and healthcare are issues about communism. I think those are just center politics. Those are things I would think a strong nation would have. A rational nation that needs engineers and needs doctors, needs teachers, needs lawyers, things like that. I would think you would want to have a strong educational system that everyone has access to. Hospitals, same thing. If you're pro-family, you would want universal health care. I don't think that's communist. I think that's center Western democracy, But Fox seems to think that when you're talking about health care for everybody, that's communist. So, I mean, I'm just I don't get it here. And I really think, don't get me wrong, I think there's another conversation to be had about how much people should get help in the wealthiest country on earth versus how much they should contribute first. I believe that's an honest conversation. I don't believe the conversation she's having is anywhere close to it. And I think the conversation in the West overall, outside of the U.S., is more like how much should a person contribute versus how much they receive. That's a conversation happening across the West, and it has been for generations now in nations that have universal health care, universal education. To me, that's what an honest conversation is. For example, how quickly do you access all of these rights versus how long you've been in the country or how long you've been paying taxes or had a job? I think that's an honest conversation, but I think they use this to scapegoat that conversation to make sure you never have that conversation. So they start off so ridiculous that you can never get back to a real reasonable conversation. I mean, the goal point here, where they set the goal, is just so far away reachable. You can't even reach it if you start at this point. But that's what I think. I don't think it's honest. And I would tell people, even if you're a Republican or a MAGA supporter, don't watch Fox News. They're bullshitting you. They're just bullshitting you. Just like I'm telling you, CNN, I don't really go for CNN myself. I don't go for CNN. I don't think they're being totally honest. I think they're just as corporate as Fox, pretty much. Maybe just, in a few things I might say a little better. Maybe it's just because they speaking, they're not so all the time for Trump, but at the same thing, I think they both corporate, looking after corporate interests.
And in it, he basically said, we will tear down the city that created everything that created Donald Trump. We will tear down the institutions that allowed him to succeed, which is basically dismantle capitalism.
That is bullshit. That's bullshit. Wanting to have free public transportation, isn't that, why the fuck are you trying to make money on public transportation? It's called public transportation so people can get to work fairly, at least get to fucking work, to pay some taxes. What the fuck is wrong with this lady? If you want people working, you have to have a society that makes it fucking possible. What do you want? Somebody showing up to work with, foot and mouth disease, coughing? Is that what you want? Like, this is just fucked up, man. It's fucked up.
In New York City, because that's what allowed Donald Trump to succeed. So, it'd be interesting to know if the president, rewatch that, just like sort of let that sink in a little bit. And
oh, she's giving suggestions to the president. Yo, they explaining this is if you don't like Trump's policies, I mean, generally, I'm talking about across the board. I'm not saying you like one policy and the others you don't like. No, that means generally you don't like Trump's policies. You got to have more than one. You need to have a handful that you like, that you believe he's fulfilling before when you say I like his policies, But this right here, it sounds like they're losing their guy and they're trying to explain how they didn't make fools out of themselves.
And see how this goes tomorrow.
Jessica, I was shocked in the green room that you asked, do you think that Zoran will be searched or frisked before entering the White House? And I thought that's a provocative question, but you raised a good point.
What we were actually talking about in the green room is how much easier it is to change the diaper of a baby girl than a baby boy. That is legitimately what the talk was.
That's what we were talking about.
So Mamdani has grown up real fast in the first few days since becoming mayor. So there was talk, obviously, he said, I want Jesse Tisch, who's the police commissioner, to stay on. That deal is now signed and sealed. He has been discouraging DSA members from primarying Democrats, saying Hakeem Jeffries, leave him alone. AOC has said the same thing. Richie Torres, who represents in the Bronx, Michael Blake wants to primary him. He's going against the DSA grain, saying, these primaries that are staked out over a position on Israel, that's not really good for business. And he also wants funding for all of these things that he needs Kathy Hochul to help with. And she said, not only am I not raising the personal tax rate, you're not going to get the corporate tax rate raised. So if on top of that, you're cut off from federal funds, you're in a lot of trouble.
There's no free bus.
So I think that these are two telegenic TV guys, right? Or who are good at communicating that way. I think that they will allow each other to shine to a certain degree. Like they'll get their hits in on one another. And I hope as a New Yorker that they can also have, some healthy conversation about making sure that New York can thrive and improve in certain areas. And I bet you could get a Donald Trump to say, you know what, I think universal child care is a good idea.
People need to understand that there's one element there. Again, this corporate thing. It's your tax dollars. New York City is a giver state when it comes to federal tax dollars. They generate more federal dollars annually than they use. And that portion that they do not use goes to other states that are taker states that generate less federal dollars than they lose. So the end of this debate, to me, when you're talking about federal dollars to Donald Trump, whether he's going to give it or not, it's not his money to give in the first place. He does not generate that money himself. The federal government does not generate that money themselves. That money comes from the taxpayers of New York City. So, and that's how it works across the country when you're from a giver state. When you're from a taker state like Texas, you generate less federal dollars than you use. So you shouldn't be, dictating, more than what a giver state has to say about themselves, dictates about themselves, And I think that's where the American people need to interject themselves because, first of all, it's not Trump's money. It's not the federal government's money. It's the taxpayer money. The money comes from the people who worked in the society. That's who it comes from. And that money is to be used for their benefit. Simple and plain. That money should be used for that's the whole point. Otherwise, it's called taxation without representation. That's what it's called. So if the taxpayers of New York say we want universal health care, that's their representation when they're saying it. They're utilizing their representation. When you withhold funds that they generated honestly through hard sweat and labor because of your politics, that's representation. That's taxation without representation. That's just it. To me, it doesn't go any further than that. The conversation. It's not the federal government's money. It's not Trump's money. It's not the Republican Party's money. It's not the Democrats' money. It's the people of New York's money, purely. You see what I mean? So at the end of the day, I don't actually agree with. I do understand her synopsis there, on what happened, but I think the fundamental issue there is still, even though she's supposed to be representing the left on Fox News, the problem there is that it's still a corporate perspective.
I think universal pre-K worked for the city. Maybe we can help out with that a little bit, and that would be my ideal scenario.
Sorry, wrong beat.
All right. I think I know this is a stretch, that there might be a smart socialist. I'm not sure. But he probably realized that socialists don't make anything. They only break things. Therefore, you need the city to exist, or you have nothing to experiment on. Okay, but there's no, again, this goes back to his, what was Bitz saying, semantics. Again, you can't say that, again, taxpayers pay for the U.S. military. What money does the U.S. military generate for the taxpayer? None. Yet the taxpayers pay it. So he's saying that you can't generate money for socialist projects. He's saying if you want a socialist project, right, that these people who want socialist projects here and there in their communities don't know how to generate money. Okay, but the people that generate the money in the United States pay for the biggest socialist project, which is the U.S. military. And that's the top military on earth. It's the number one. What the fuck is he talking about? Again, I'm just saying, what is he talking about? What is he talking about? If it could work for the U.S. military, why can't it work for education? Why can't it work for healthcare? Why can't it? What's wrong with using taxpayer dollars to pay for transport system? What's wrong with using taxpayer dollars to make sure the roads don't have holes in them? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? So what's the difference from fixing a hole in the ground or allowing a person to get to work, helping a person get to work? What's the difference from healthcare when them being healthy allows them to get to fucking work? Childcare. If them having childcare, getting assistance with childcare helps them get to fucking work to pay taxes, what's the fucking difference? What's the fucking difference? Why, if tax money, if everyone who lives in these communities with potholes, don't have childcare, don't have health care, if their tax dollars is still going to people like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, what the fuck is this guy talking about? You see what I'm saying? It just makes, he's literally talking to American people like they're stupid. Like, seriously, like this is almost insulting what they're doing here. This is insulting. This is not a real conversation about communism, capitalism, or anything. This is a conversation about American people are stupid, and I'm going to go on TV and laugh about how stupid they are because I'm going to talk just total utter garbage to them. Like, this is trash. This is trash. Nobody should be listening to this, like, and believing it. We can listen to it and critique it, but believing it means you're a dumb motherfucker. Like, straight up. Like, do not believe this. This is a sham. This is a charade. There's nothing serious going on here. Nothing good for you as an American citizen. This is all bad for you. All bad for you. Nobody else does this in the West. Nobody else in NATO does this.
Nobody. And if they did, they would fall apart instantly. It would be their demise. You see what I'm saying? It would be your destruction. The only reason why the U.S. is able to go through this dumb shit is because the size, but you're barely holding on. If you persist, this will take you down. This is anti-you. This is anti-American. They might have the blue, red, white, and blue, but it's anti-American. It's anti-human. It's anti-citizen.
So he knows that it's like.
Anyway, fuck him. Next. I just wanted to cover that a little bit. You know, you had the Mamdani situation going on, but now let's do this one. Let's see here.
This video was created by a...
Yeah, there's something about Marjorie Green Taylor, y'all. Marjorie, come on and play. We love you, Marjorie. Thank you. Now, this also some retrospective thoughts. She's stepping down, and now that people had a day or two to mull over it, it means that Democrats could, or others, Republicans, well, let's put it this way. It means that Republicans could be losing control of the House even before the midterm elections. Where's Trump? Let me make the image a little bigger so people can see it here. Let's go.
We're going to Andrews Air Force Base to do some work, especially for our great Air Force. We're doing some fix-up of the base, which we need. We're going to try and reinstitute the golf courses. I'm meeting with the great Jack Nicklaus, the greatest person, and he's involved in trying to bring their recreational facility back. It was a great place that has been destroyed over the years through lack of maintenance, so we'll fix that up. Jack will be the architect and he'll design it.
Doing Trump business, Trump Tower, doing architecture, you know, apartments, selling, realtor work.
Big courses that are in very bad shape, so we can, for very little money, fix it up for the Air Force Base. And we're looking at other things over at Andrews, so we're going to be stopping, won't be too long. We'll be stopping over there. I think some of you will be there. And the economy, as you saw, some incredible numbers came in. Investment in our country is
Speed it up. Come on. Speed it up.
Roman Taylor Green. I know that before you had
Here we go.
a fight with Elon Musk and you guys were able to work it out.
No, I get along with everybody.
We see the same thing happening between you and Donald
Sure, why not? I mean, I get along with everybody. No, not my fault. No, we'd like to get the peace. It should have happened a long time ago.
Not his final offer to Ukraine either. Okay.
The Ukraine war with Russia should have never happened.
But it's interesting what he just said. It's not his final offer. So why is he revisiting the same talking points? I mean, it shows you there's something else going on. That's what it tells me. There's something else going on here. Like, he doesn't want to tell you that something else is happening that goes against his talking points that he keeps repeating. Why?
Happened a long time ago. The Ukraine war with Russia should have never happened. If I were president, it never would have happened. No, we'd like to get the peace. No, not my fault.
No, not his final offer. But then he recites these talking points. Okay.
We're trying to get it ended. Well, then he can continue. Then he can continue to fight his little heart out.
Are you having any comment about Bolsonaro's arrest?
Say it.
Do you have any comment about Bolsonaro's arrest? A former Brazilian president.
So I spoke last night to the gentleman you just referred to, and we're going to be meeting, I believe.
What's this thing about the burgundy, about the maroon colors they've been wearing lately? It's not even just him. It was Pam Bondi, Kash Patel's tie was burgundy or maroon. Now it's Trump. What's up with this?
Even the very near future.
Sir, are you worried about the president being arrested today?
What? Any comment about the former Brazilian president being arrested today? No, I don't know anything about it.
Don't know anything about it.
Mr. President, are you willing? I didn't hear. Is that what happened? Yes, there's a citation. That's too bad. That's too bad. No, I just think it's too bad. The orders the National Guard.
He wasn't even told about it, y'all. He wasn't even told about it. This is crazy. I mean, it shows you his White House doesn't function. It doesn't function.
New York City. Do you still plan to deploy the National Guard to New York City?
If they need it. Right now, other places need it more, but if they need it, we had a very good meeting yesterday. We talked about that. But if they need it, I would do it.
Change the tone.
Are you willing to forgive Congresswoman Taylor Greene?
Forgive for what? No, I just disagreed with her philosophy. She started backing perhaps the worst Republican.
You know what? Now he's flip-flopping. See, now he saw her announce that she's stepping down. That's going to cost the Republicans again, and now Trump is now he's like, no, I don't mean it.
Republican Congress. Forgive for what? No, I just disagreed with her philosophy. She started.
That's all. She didn't have to step down.
Backing perhaps the worst Republican Congress.
I just said death threats to her. She deserves to die. You know, that's about it. She's a traitor.
In our history, this stupid person named Massey, and I said, go your own way. And
he's stupid. If Massey is stupid, then how did he get a bill, a disposition set, a bill that you had to sign, that you were totally against? If Massey, do you hear this fool? Look at that. I'm sorry. He called Massey a fool. And this dude just signed a bill by Massey. What the fuck? But it's a bill that he's saying, they all saying, yeah, because they don't want to admit they're against the pedophiles being exposed. This is ridiculous.
Named Massey. For what? No, I just disagreed with her philosophy. She started backing perhaps the worst Republican congressman in our history. This stupid person named Massey.
Stupid person named Massey. She started backing him. Okay, well, backing him in what? That bill, that Epstein bill that Trump just signed. So that was sent by a stupid person. You see? So that means Republicans, Mike Johnson, what are you talking about, man? Like, you weren't with it. Trump wasn't with it. He's not with signing that bill, but he signed it reluctantly. But does that make Massey stupid, or does it make Massey smart? If it makes Massey smart, put a 1 in the chat. If it makes him sound stupid, put a 2 in the chat. And click the like button, please, if you don't mind. 1 in the chat if Massey is stupid. The guy who got the bill, who proposed the bill, who what do they call it? Sponsored the bill that Trump just signed about Epstein. If he's stupid, put a 1 in the chat. If he's smart, put a 2 in the chat. I'm like, why would you sign a stupid bill? I mean, to me, it's like he's smart. He have to be smart. Why the hell would you sign a stupid bill by a stupid person? I mean, damn, this stupid person got you to do some shit. Is that stupid? Like, wow. I never, but this is Trump. This is the president. Your tax dollars go to him. This is what you're paying for. It's not what I'm paying for as an American citizen because I live outside of the U.S. My taxes go to other stuff. You see what I mean? More reasonable representation locally and nationally. I might add, this shit is what your tax dollars go to. I mean, god damn, like what the hell? Yeah, dose. Eric, exactly. Like what the? But Miriam, she thinks Massey's stupid, even though Trump signed the bill. Trump signed a bill by a person he called stupid. What the hell?
And I said, go your own way. And once I left her, she resigned because she would never have survived.
Is that smart? Was it smart for Trump that she resigned? Was that smart for Republicans that Marjorie Greene Taylor resigned? You think that was smart? Huh? It was smart for her. Was it smart for Republicans? Or was that dumb? Whoever got her to resign, was that stupid? Because now Now she doesn't even have to have a screwed up little re-election thing where all kinds of insults are being hurled. Now she's free of that. And you got to fight even harder to replace the seat with a Republican. That's crazy. And that's going to happen soon. You see, that's not midterm elections. You see?
The primary, but I think she's a nice person. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, they got it dumb. It is dumb as F for them. Exactly, man. This is crazy. But this is the news here. Last one. Let's see here. Let's
Good evening, everyone.
This is some more right-wing corporate stuff. Now, I call CNN left-wing corporate, but this is right-wing corporate.
Laura Ingraham, this is the Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. Smarter than the rest. That's the focus of tonight's angle. What a Friday in the news business. Okay, so you had Mamdani and President Donald Trump holding court for just over a half hour after that highly anticipated meeting they had in the Oval. So if you were expecting or maybe hoping for them to come to verbal blows, well, you were both wrong and disappointed.
Was she wrong, though? Was she one of the people that expected them to come to blows? Is that what what did she expect? Could anyone expect what they saw? Could anybody reasonably expect that? How? How would you expect that? Where is your word on the record? Now, you know what? Let me see here. Let me go back to here. This is who the hell is this lady? Laura Ingraham. Okay. What are Laura Ingraham's comments about Mamdani before his White House visit? Let's see here. I want to see what she said before now, her retrospective views of Mamdani and the president. Here we go. Let's see here. Calling him extreme socialism. Ingraham asserted that Mamdani represents the definition of extreme socialism. That's funny how she qualifies that by extreme. So is regular socialism okay? Okay. She warned that socialism via Mamdani leads to misery for all, accusing him appealing to voters who resent American history. Accusing him of appealing to voters who resent American history. That sounds really funny from people that are going around ripping down every piece of American history that you have. So Americans don't want their federal dollars paying for statues of Confederate generals because the Confederate generals lost the war, and Americans said those can go to museums. They don't need to be out in front. They can go to private museums or you can auction them off. You can do whatever you want, but taxpayers shouldn't pay for the upkeep, right? And because that happened, they decided that we have to remove African Americans from history. We got to remove women from history. We got to remove just anybody else from it's like, so this is what they're claiming. You resent it. I think they resent the history more, to be honest. But she claimed because Confederates lost, and that is your place in history, the loser. Do you resent that? I don't. I enjoy that. I'm part of the fruits of the Confederates losing. Okay, so I say, yay, American history is great. She claimed Mamdani only appeals to voters who resent American history and our way of life. Whose way of life? Who is she? What way of life is she having? Like, matter of fact, damn, let me read some more. I always have a tendency to do this because as soon as I hear the word we, it makes me want to find out how many generations her family been in the U.S. because they all talk like this. And then you find out it's not always, sometimes it's just like 1 or 2 generations. Our way of life. Nothing to do with Civil War. Nothing to do with it's our way of life all of a sudden. Okay. According to her, social media can make his socialist communist. He's a communist now. Ideas look cool, making communism seem doable. Bringing in a survivor of Mao's revolution. On Ingram's angle, she Van Fleet, a survivor of Chinese Cultural Revolution, to warn viewers about Mamdani's platform. What the hell did that happen? Ingram introduced him by saying Mamdani. You see again, though, but the interesting thing is Mao. They go to Mao. And again, this denotes the fact that when they say socialism, when they bring up socialism as a response to public housing, public health care, public education, right? Universal health care, universal education. When the right wing brings up socialism as a response to Democrats talking about fair housing, universal education, and universal health care, it's a false claim, because now when you really press them on it, they start talking about shit that has nothing to do with that. Mao. They start talking about things that don't exist in the West. They're not talking about Western world, any Western country again. Now they're not talking about any Western country that has universal health care anymore. So you start off saying every other Western country has universal health care. Why not us? And then they say socialism will kill everything. And now when you press them on it, they don't mention any other Western democracy. Take note of that. Okay, let's see here. Ingram introduced him by saying Mamdani's campaign is not just about woke Marxists. Now it's Marxists again. You know, like, stick to a word. Woke Marxist identity politics, but full-fledged communist. Okay, she framed his policies. This doesn't even make any sense. If you know what Marxist is, this doesn't even make any sense. Well, what the hell? The man won an election. What's Marxist about that? What the fuck? She framed his policies like state-owned business talk. Right, exactly, as reminiscent of totalitarian socialist regimes. What's your warning? He's a full-fledged communist. That means abolish private property. No, that's not what that means. That's not what that means. Right now, the United States of America has a lot of public property. Did you know that? How many people knew that the United States of America has loads of public property? If you knew that, put a 1 in the chat. If you didn't know that, put a 2 in the chat. So what is that? Is that socialized? Is that anti-American to have public property? You see how they flip it around, with this psychology they're doing? It's like, it doesn't make any sense. It has nothing to do with destroying private property. It has something to do with maintaining a sphere of public property so that things don't go out of balance and then you have nothing to balance it out with later. That's the whole point. So corporations don't end up owning every fucking aspect of your life, including your brain. That's what this is about. Freedom. That's what this is about. And they're painting it as being anti-free. Like, that's why this is total utter bullshit. All right, let's hear some more from her.
Pointed.
We've just had a great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well.
Look, somebody said public property is communism. Here we go. Let's go over U.S. Americans. Some Americans don't know their own country. What lands and properties are public in the USA? How many and where? I mean, this is ridiculous, This is ridiculous. Communist. I'm sorry. There's loads of non-communist countries on earth. Every other Western democracy has public property. What the hell are you talking about? Like, wake up. And the United States. Okay, let's see here. Federal lands are lands owned and managed by U.S. government. About 28% of the U.S. land area is federally owned. Okay, so 28% of the U.S. is public property. Do you understand that, American citizen? Already. But there's a theory to why it is. The question is it being managed properly and being used to protect Americans from private corporations owning every fucking aspect of their life? That is the question. Okay. Bureau of Land Management, 245 million acres. U.S. Forests, 193 million acres. National Park Service, 85 million acres. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, 95 million acres. Department of Defense, 27 million acres. Other federal agencies, 5 million acres. Federal lands are heavily concentrated in the West and Alaska states with the highest percentage of federal land. Nevada, 80%. Alaska, 60%. Utah, 60%. Okay? State owned. State manages forest parks, wildlife areas. Examples, California. I mean, it goes on. Local municipality, public lands. City owns and counties manage parks, libraries, city buildings, schools, and recreation areas. What the hell? Yo, man, the trolls be out of their mind out here, bro. Like, what the hell, man? Know something about the country if you're going to go trolling. Know something about the U.S. Know something about the world you live in. Know something about the U.S. Know something about the West. Know something about the East. Know something about Asia. Know something about Africa. Know something about Europe. Know something about South America. Know some motherfucking something before you get hurt out here. Like, for real. Is your life on the line?
And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran an incredible race against, a lot of smart people. I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have hopefully a really great mayor.
I'm only here to hear Ingram's take.
How many people predicted that scene? Well, look, it might not be.
Is she having a happy day or is that a fake laugh? How many people predicted that scene? She really means like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, bromance, but how many people
want to congratulate?
Fake-o.
I think you can.
Look at this fake. But she gets paid to fake, man. Come on, man. Let's slow this one down before I get out of here. I'm about to be out of here. I'll be back in a few. Let me see here. Let me slow this down just to get a lot.
Going to have hopefully a really great mayor.
How many people predicted that scene? Well, look, it might not be a bromance, but it could be a relationship with benefits.
Is that misogynistic? What is going on here? I don't know, man. This is God. Ha ha ha.
Both men seem to realize that while throwing insults on the campaign trail is easy and kind of fun, governing is actually really hard.
Did you Republicans hear that? When you call Democrats communist, Marxist? She's not even listening to her own language. What about if you're a talking head on Fox News? Did they realize anything? Did you get to this point, Laura, where you had she had a reflection herself and then was like, wouldn't it be great if politicians also do that? Now she's an advocate of this.
Relationship predicted that scene. Well, look, it might not be a bromance, but it could be a relationship with benefits. Both men seem to realize that while throwing insults on the campaign trail is easy and kind of fun,
she was promoting the insults. She was promoting the insults and promoting the ones from the right wing, Now she's had a reckoning and shit. Like, no, that's not what you want to do. You can actually work together with these people. They're not. Does she mean they're not Marxists and not communists and not extreme? So what are they? Where's the understanding that they're having? I don't really get it because it's almost like they're trying to admit something, but they want to be vague about it. Just say you were wrong.
Governing is actually really hard. And it's neither.
So they like the Chuck Schumers and the Hakeem Jeffries, the ones that don't hurl insults. They prefer them now, although they've only been promoting and hurling insults Fox News the entire goddamn time.
Good for the country or New York.
It's not good for the country, Laura Ingraham, or New York. Did you know that? Hurling insults? I mean, goddamn.
The president to be at war with the city's mayor or vice versa.
It's not good for corporate media like Fox to be at war with the majority of the country or even half the country or even any part of the country. You're not supposed to literally be at war with us, but they have been. They have literally been.
What I really appreciate.
Okay, yo. I'll be back, y'all. That's enough for today. I appreciate it. If you haven't seen the Mamdani interview, go check it out. I covered it live yesterday. It was beautiful. I applaud Mamdani. You know, he represented. I mean, to me, he seems like best of what the U.S. has, to be honest. You know, and he's not the only one. But far too often we look down on people that are calm, cool, and collected and are not hurling insults. Far too often we look down on politicians that cross the aisle to communicate. You see what I mean? But in this case, let's recognize the power dynamics. You had a president that openly threatened to withhold federal tax dollars that come and are generated from hardworking New Yorkers from all backgrounds. So Trump initiated that. He basically ordered the meeting. If Mamdani had not shown up, you know, it wouldn't be good for New Yorkers. And Mamdani is a public servant. So he's taken the stance of, I don't have to like Trump because I'm representing a constituency. I'm representing all New Yorkers. So even if I don't like him, I still have to go and see what I can do, see what I can get out of this. Now, it seems like Trump has reversed his stance on withholding federal dollars. That's what it looks like to me. Right. And that's a good stance. I wish Trump would be a president that understood you should never withhold federal dollars because it's not your money. It comes from people who work and struggle every fucking day. It is an insult to the American way and to the American people to withhold federal dollars that they rightfully earned. That's an insult. That is anti-capitalism. That is anti-democracy. If you want people to work, you don't fucking rob them. That's highway robbery. So get it straight. You know, stop talking about socialism and capitalism or communism when you're the one doing the bullshit to rob people of honest capitalistic fucking work. Okay, whatever happened to that? You see? So again, pay attention to how they use the language. They're throwing hurdles out. They're hurling this communist socialist shit out. But what is communism and socialism? What about it? Are they critiquing? They're not critiquing the public health care part about it. I mean, they are. They're calling that communism and socialism. Public health care, that's what they're calling. Public education, they're calling communist and socialism. Fair housing, they're calling communist and socialism. A fair wage, they're calling communist and socialism. But when they want to withhold your tax dollars, they ain't calling it communism or socialism or Marxist. Get a load of that. So I'll be back with y'all. It's still the weekend, y'all. And I won't be too long. I appreciate everybody for coming out and joining me for this little segment. Yeah, there's a lot more news coming. And, again, I big up to the people that hit the streets yesterday in Washington, D.C. and anywhere else where you hit the streets. Thank you, because you all are the heroes. You all are the heroes of this moment. Without the people standing up for themselves, you cannot expect the representatives in these times to be better. We got to understand we have to push all our representatives to get back to common sense, to get back to what this whole thing is about. It's about the people, right? You know, to get back to understanding that you in civil in the government work for us, the people. Those tax dollars are supposed to work for us. If it's not working for us and you are not working for us, then we are failing as a nation. It's so important that we send that message home to folks. So on that note, I'm out. I'm going to catch everybody in a couple hours. Peace, y'all. One. Oh, subscribe. Click the like button if you haven't clicked the like button. Check out some of the merch. And peace. I'll be back in a couple hours, y'all. I appreciate y'all. One.
They want war. Crime babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe. People subdued. when the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day and every clue. Don't let it go, it's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep, leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and I feel we on the brink. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather, I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double, but nature gets the shit in a way that's subtle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't cause the TVs whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ad, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is